Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live right here on Thinking Critical YouTube, the best damn comic book podcast that you're ever going to see live and in person. And first of all, I do want to say thank you to all of you that have went out there and bought the official Thinking Critical merch. We've got some hats sold. We got some t-shirts out there. It sounds like people should be getting them within the next few days. So thank you so much for supporting. If you are interested in one of these bad boys right here, like yours truly is wearing, there is a link in the video description. We've got a great panel. We got making his return to Thinking Critical. We got Skip. How you doing, Skip?
I'm doing all right. How's everybody else doing?
So great. Look like you didn't get much sleep.
I got almost too much sleep.
Oh, so that seems like a little seam mark on your face, like you just rolled out of bed.
Oh, well, I didn't say I didn't just get out of bed. Of course, I just got out of bed. I was messaging you like more than an hour ago. I've been up.
He just didn't get out of bed.
Maybe I was embellishing.
He can wake up without getting out of bed.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you.
We've also got making her lovely return to Thinking Critical. We've got Nerdy Girl Creates, Carrie herself. How you doing, Carrie?
I'm doing great. I'm looking forward to the topics today.
Today should be a barn burner. A lot of Comixology hate out there. We got some Mantle swaps. A lot of fun things to talk about. Who else we got? We've got Drew from Comics Elite. Drew, your beard hasn't grown back? Is that what happened?
You got me. Damn it, not again. I just got back from the gym. I'm ready to talk about this stuff to, see where this goes.
Doc, you remember when we used to do live streams and then Bats would show up and he'd be at the gym?
Yes. On his phone, and we hear like clanging metal from behind us. Yeah, he'd decide I'm going to do the live stream from the fucking gym.
In the middle of a set.
I'll never forget.
I think he did it because Zach would do it when he was on a live stream with EBS. I think he was trying to do that.
I think so too, but it was... Oh, we had some very interesting early live streams on this channel before we decided to be, I don't know, something approaching marginally professional.
Marginally. Definitely big
I'm
shout
curious,
out to
did
Joe
you
Corallo. Oh, sorry.
Did you get the gym grunts and the like man roars after like lifting some things?
Oh, yeah.
Was it like
every so
this
often?
Is what I think.
Yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, I knew when he was doing spots. I know that.
Setting off the alarms at Planet Fitness, the lunkhead alarm. Yeah.
Who else we got? We got Josh from BatmanNews.com as well as PopByCulture.com. How you doing, Josh?
I'm all right. My internet's apparently lagging, so it's that's pissing me off. But other than that, I'm okay. I'm decent.
I'll be honest. There wasn't much lag there, so it looks like it probably picked up when you turned off the video. So that works. We get a better timing as far as Josh, but you don't get his beautiful face. So you got to take the good with the bad. That's why we got Skip down there, right, Skip, for the ladies.
Yes.
Who else we got here? Definitely not for the ladies. We've got Doc. Are you the most controversial man in Thinking Critical?
Maybe, I guess. Not really that controversial. I'm just kind of an asshole.
Okay, you're the biggest asshole in Thinking Critical, even more than me.
Definitely the biggest asshole. I'm the guy that'll say the things everybody else is thinking, but is too polite to say.
There we go. Doesn't that mean Doc is especially for the ladies?
Oh, perhaps. That's what it is. All right, so let's get right into this. We've got a bunch of news to get through. We had some Mantle swaps at DC and Marvel. Not mostly. DC and Marvel. We have a new Aquaman. We've got a new Iron Fist. Doc, we've even got a new member of the Fantastic Four. Jack of Hearts, huh? Strange choice.
Yeah, because why the fuck not? I mean, when honestly, it might as well have just been Paste Pot Pete. Maybe I'm trying
Newsboy
to think.
Legion. Newsboy Legion.
Yeah, Newsboy Legion. Stiltman. We're going with some seriously like D-list characters. Plus, I thought Jack of Hearts was fucking dead. I thought he'd been dead for like 15 years.
Yeah, he's not the Fantastic Five. He's replacing Johnny Storm, right?
Yep. He's apparently replacing Johnny Storm because you all motherfuckers forced me to look at another Dan Slott comic. No, it's because, you know, Dan Slott can't go a fucking week without monkeying something up.
Well, it's been 15 years in the making, Doc. It's been his life dream.
Yay.
Yeah. I don't know, Josh, did you read Aquaman the Becoming? You know, obviously you're the DC bed around here, right?
I read the first issue and said, hell no.
You didn't read issue 6 when they finally did the baton handover?
No. I knew it. Look, I knew it was going to be just a tragic train wreck, and I did not want to subject myself to it. I have enough things making me angry.
It was the classic mantle swap where Aquaman's telling Jackson Hyde, you and I are exactly the same. You're just as good as I am. In fact, I'm giving you Aquaman. And then Jackson Hyde's like, I'm Aquaman. You're Aquaman. We're all Aquaman. And then he like ran off because he was mad. Like, nah, it's not.
Yeah, I skimmed the issue, but I did not sit down and fully read the issue. But the moment, especially when I saw that they're like, you're Aquaman, I'm Aquaman, I was like, what's the freaking point? Like, this is stupid.
I'm Wolverine. You're Wolverine. Everybody's Wolverine. Jesus Christ, are we on fucking
Exactly
Oprah giving away cars?
This is almost as bad as when Logan was like, you tell him, Laura, you're Wolverine. I was like, that doesn't feel right.
Although it was kind of funny that she then tried to puss out on the mission into the vault, and he's like, wait, I thought you were Wolverine. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, fuck you, bitch.
No more good old days of when a mantle swap actually meant something. Like Wally West.
Nope, no more.
They don't really do it like that anymore, Carrie. What do you think? It just feels so lazy nowadays. It's like
I just want to know why DC is repeating the Marvel mistakes. It's like everybody's going to get swapped to somebody else. That works so well for Marvel. It sucks. It's like, stop.
The only logic I can see in that is that Marvel did expand their dollar share as the result of that, but it had nothing to do with the mantle swaps and everything to do with aiming at the speculator market, while at the same time triple dipping and sometimes quadruple dipping on, and whatever the hell 43 times is, on the variant market. Especially variants that had the first appearance of the new mantle swapped character by a artist that is, you know, relatively popular and with a high ratio count.
Yeah, but now it's just getting old.
Yeah, well,
it's getting old, but you know, Doc is right. They sell in our store. Those books sell. That's the truth.
For the first issue, right?
Yeah, for first issue after that.
Yeah, for the first issue, and then after that, nothing. And their new normal, like it's again, it's all short-term money. Their new normal always ends up below whatever the old normal was.
So no long-term goal.
No, it's literally the law of diminishing returns in action. If you were to open up an encyclopedia, look at the law of diminishing returns, all it would have is look at what Marvel did from 2012 to current. That's it.
Unless you do something like Tom Taylor does, you know, and make a big drastic change in the middle of the series, you'll have that one big spike, and then it goes right back down, back to earth right after that.
So Josh, you were a screenwriter and stuff. When we do these mantle swaps, they don't have to be failures, but you could be imaginative with them. I'm tired of the same old speech and in the same manner of doing it. Although they do something a little bit different in Iron Fist, which we'll get here to here in a second. Like, what as a writer, what would you do to a mantle swap?
If I were to do a mantle swap, and if I were going to do it in comics, I'd probably have a good 12 to 24 issues of building the character up as a supporting character. And I think one of the best ways you can build a character up, if you have a new character, especially someone that you're not familiar with, have them go against a villain that is considered like one of the top tier villains for the main character that you're trying to potentially replace. Have them fight them, have them barely lose, learn that lesson, build themselves back up, and then come back. And they can do it with the main mantle or whatever. but you've got to show them struggle and kind of find their path and develop themselves. And if you don't do that, you're not going to get buy-in from the customers.
Honestly,
go ahead.
Well, I think you were close on that. I would have them go up against that character early on in their appearances and get the ever-loving shit beat out of them. Like, not like close loss, like get fucking smoked. So you can see how much they have to build up. And then you spend the next 2 years building them to that point.
Hey, look, you can have them lose again. But the only reason I didn't say that is you have plenty of comics right now where you have them face the villain, they lose, and within the next 5 issues, they come back and mop the floor with them. So there's like a happy medium there that needs to be found, and they're not finding it.
They definitely need to do something to kind of pick up the slack because they're doing so many mantle swaps. They need to be more imaginative. We do have several super chats we should get to real quick. We've got Lade Kramer. Well, this morning, Cantwell's Iron Man Volume 1 trade paperback arrived for me. I blame Wes and Perch for this. It's a car wreck I need to see. I'm glad I don't have to do it alone. I'm glad you're taking this journey with me, Lade Kramer. I'm going to have a video on Cantwell's Iron Man sometime next week. That's a rough one, Doc. You didn't read it, did you? I made you read a couple issues.
You made me read a couple issues, and that was a couple way too fucking many.
Yeah. I don't envy you, Lade Kramer, but the good thing is after this is you're going to have a better appreciation for good comic books. You know what I mean?
All you will really appreciate is Bob Layton a lot more.
I don't recommend that to anybody, but I appreciate Lade picking up the slack and trying it out. We've got Callum Lyle. Good news, Doctor Strange 2 looks insane. Dinosaurs, demons, green minotaurs, eldritch creatures, and the maybe Illuminati. Now, I know, Skip, you're a big fan of the Illuminati. We watching Doctor Strange 2?
You said, will I be watching Doctor Strange 2?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to some of the twists and turns that we believe are coming from the multiverse of madness. So yeah, like Callum, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Doc, what are your expectations for Doctor Strange 2? Are you actually excited?
It's the only 2 phase, whatever 39 fucking MCU movie that we're in, whatever that phase is. The only 2 movies I was looking forward to in this phase, thankfully come out this year, and it was Spider-Man and Doctor Strange 2. Doctor Strange 1 had a lot of, promise. It was good. It was a great setup, good character, interesting, everything. Sam Raimi, solid horror director. Also has a history, for the Spider-Man movies of doing pretty good with superheroes. Yeah, I'm down with that. It looks like kind of a, trippy as shit, kind of a lot of what we got in like Act 3 of the first Doctor Strange, but cranked up to 11. So yeah. I'm good with that.
Yeah, the trailer on the Super Bowl looked absolutely terrific. Good call. That would Cal Lyle. And back he says, the showrunner for She-Hulk in the MCU said really nice things about fans, particularly She-Hulky fans. So have you noticed how short, fat Slot's arms are? Yes, he's got some T-Rex syndrome in there. What do you think, Drew? Is it give you hope for the She-Hulk series on Disney Plus that the showrunners out there actually praising fans and thanking them ahead of time?
Not necessarily. I'm keeping anything Marvel. Anything Marvel. I'm keeping my expectations to the absolute bare minimum. I have to anymore, and I'll honestly be shocked if this is like an honest, true interpretation of Jennifer Walters. I will be legit shocked. As long as I keep my expectations low, I'll be surprised and should be happy if they do it well.
Isn't it the chick from Orphan Black that's playing her?
Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
I liked her as being able to get into a bunch of different kind of roles. So I'm kind of down for it. I'm curious at least.
As long as they don't just make her a female version of Bruce Banner, it should work out. As long as they get the character right, it should be a lot of fun. We've also got Common Sense. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Marvel and Wong had dirty Pei. Pei deserves to be the Iron Fist. Wong said in IGN that Pei was a supporting character. That's a lie. Pei is protagonist in Carrie Andrews' sequel, Immortal Iron Fist. It does seem weird. They've been building this character Pei up for I don't know, quite a few years here, Drew, and they just go another direction with Lin Lee instead of Pei. You don't even mention her in the comic book.
No, nothing. And they gave us I compared this new Iron Fist to like 2-week-old dried out Chinese food. Just completely bland, generic, tasteless. There's nothing special. Nothing special about him. And really, the only thing you did was reaffirm how awesome Danny Rand is. And it's like, why should we come back for issue 2? I know we got some hate in the comments for like, oh, you guys are racist. I'm like, no, this character sucks. There's nothing special about him.
Well, a lot of people like the Swordmaster character, but they kind of took everything cool about the character away, and he just keeps running away from Danny Rand. It was kind of comical. I kind of laughed at it. I don't think I was supposed to be. Yeah,
it reminded me of that 1990 Captain America movie. It just like he keeps running away whenever problem arises. I feel sick. Got to run away. It's like this. What this new Iron Fist is. Got to run away. It's like, okay, that's like, very heroic.
There's that weird moment when he's talking about my hands hurt because he's got like the shards of his sword that are like embedded in there when it got shattered. He's like, I can't take him out or I might die. And then Danny Rand just pulls one right out. He's like, I got your shard. I just ripped it out of your hand and nothing happened to him.
Yeah, case in point, shows you how awesome Danny Rand is. I mean, clearly he is the more interesting character.
Mm-hmm. Well, and also how not a good writer Alyssa Wong is. She seriously put in there, that is a plot element that you cannot remove these shards from the hands. Mm-hmm. Or something bad's going to happen to him. Danny just pulls one right out. Nothing happens. Wow. Yeah. That was anticlimactic.
Yeah. Point number 2. Alyssa Wong is not that strong of a writer.
Not particularly, no. We've also got Dylan Lindsay. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. The big 2 already have sidekicks that have been around for years. Why are they trying to push the new unknown characters instead of promoting them and having them take the mantle of their predecessors? Certainly that was the DC Comics way in the past, Josh, but they've kind of gone away from that. They've decided to go with the Marvel method.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to kind of like Carrie was saying earlier. I don't know why they didn't learn their lesson. This didn't work before. It's not going to work now. You might have a few exceptions where it sort of worked, but I would say for the most part, no one has actually been a big hit coming from this route. And if you go and look back at how they used to do it, I mean, you had who spiced himself and then Wally stepped up, and then you have situations where, like, if you take Tim becoming Robin, you had a good run of him becoming Robin before he even took on the mantle, and then when he took on the mantle, you had years of him discovering how to be a hero, how to be a successful hero, how to be himself as a hero. All that kind of got built in, and it gave him a structure. And now they just want to, like, here's one issue. This is the new hero. Take it. And I say,
yeah, no. Everything's kind of been fast forwarded as far as how they do the mantle swaps. It kind of sucks, Skip, because, you think about like Wally West taking over. People didn't think Barry Allen was coming back. It felt like Hal Jordan was gone. Obviously we got Kyle Rayner stepping up to the plate. And Marvel has never really been able to recreate that kind of success. Maybe a couple instances, maybe Scott Lang with Iron Man or Ant-Man, perhaps Johnny Storm with Human Torch, but I don't think a lot of people even remember the original Human Torch, really.
No, yeah, because Johnny Storm has been in the role so long. I mean, shoot, even I don't know all that much about the like OG original
Android
myself.
Yeah, he's a robot.
Hold on, wait. Are we talking about the Human Torch or the Human Tornado? Were both of them androids?
Yep, the Human Torch, the one from World War II from the Invaders, was an android. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, okay, good call. Yeah, I mean, the whole swaps thing, you do really have to build it up. Or it's best if it is a character that obviously the fans who have been reading the series are semi-familiar with. Yeah, when you come in so ham-fisted and it's kind of out of nowhere, it feels as contrived as it is, and people that are really in tune with the series pick that up. If you're new to the series and you haven't been following along, at least for the last maybe 2-3 years, maybe you don't notice it as much. Maybe you're not as big of a fan. Maybe it goes over if the writing's good enough. But if you really want it to stick, then this is what you have to do. If you're just looking for some quick sales and some headlines, then you can keep doing this, and maybe it bumps the sales just enough so when the EIC looks down and sees the budget versus returns, they're like, all right, that's good enough. But I mean, overall, like I said, it feels contrived for the most part, and it's quite played out as far as a device to sell more books. but at the same time, they keep continuing to do it. So I'm more curious what about it is working to indicate to the publishers that this is a behavior to continue to participate in. That's what I'm curious about.
Well, as Drew said, when they do these things, they do bump sales initially, but it's not sustainable, right, Drew?
That's right. Unless you do something drastic like Tom Taylor does, like completely out of nowhere with an established character that will get fans riled up. Then yeah, they'll give you a little bump, but then it's right back down to earth. Just that initial shock factor that gives it that bump.
Yeah, sometimes I think they look in the calendar. They're like, well, last year we got a sales bump from this, so we need a sales bump this year, or we're not going to be able to maintain the numbers. Let's put it out there. That's why I think everything feels so artificial. With a lot of the older sidekick characters that Dylan's talking about, like they would be so much inner conflict for a character like Wally West to take over the Barry Allen mantle, knowing what Barry Allen meant to him and what he had done. Like, am I even worthy? And it becomes like a personal journey as you're seeing them finally accept, that they can step up to the plate. But you don't really get that because there's no, I don't know, there's just isn't enough time to tell that story anymore.
I mean, and it doesn't seem like it's the intention of the writers, or maybe it's above the writers, and maybe it's, it has to do something more with the editor. But I mean, if it is the creator, if it is the writer, maybe it's not their intention for that character to be humble. Humility isn't really like a popular thing or like a virtue that is looked upon with the same amount of value as it used to be. Like, it's all about being heady and rash and gutsy and cocky. So, and like we said, in so many instances, we even see them putting down, the people that already hold it. And, naturally, I think to most of us, we're like, well, if you think so poorly about the person who has the mantle now, what makes you want to have that same name? Some of what they're known for and what you think they're not good at is going to be attributed to you if you use the same name. But I mean, I guess really that much we're putting more thought into it, I think, than some of the people responsible for these books being published.
Yeah, that's why that John Kit conversation with Clark Kent on the Moons felt so weird. He's like, you were Superman, but you didn't do anything. It's like, what?
So you mean the narcissist and authoritarians rank characters that are narcissistic and authoritarian? Shocking.
Well, it appears that way. We've also got Federico De La Costa supporting the channel. Thank you so much. And thank you to everyone for supporting the channel. Really appreciate that. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up if you're enjoying this so everyone else knows that we're having a great conversation here. Hi, guys. I remember when the new replacement hero was Danny Ketch in 90s Ghost Rider, but they had a gimmick besides special covers to sell. They actually had a story. Yeah. I like Danny Ketch, Doc.
I do too. I'm really looking forward to, though, the next Ghost Rider, because it'll be some other hero. Oh, I got a great one. We can have Ghost Rider that's actually Black Panther, that's actually Speedball.
Oh, there you go.
Obviously, we got Robbie Reyes. We had the Ghost Rider on the Woolly Mammoth. They've done enough of those new characters, but
we have Ghost Riders that aren't riding anything, that are driving stuff.
Isn't there a Ghost Rider that used to be the Sorcerer Supreme?
Yes,
probably. Yeah,
I
think so. There was the one on the. We have the old school one with the one on the horse, and then there's a bunch of Ghost Riders. Most of them suck. The only two that are any good are Johnny Blaze and Danny Ketch.
But I think Federico's got a point here. They actually had a story to tell with it, and I think that's why people remember the character fondly.
Exactly. They had the original story for when Johnny took it over, because remember, the Ghost Rider was kind of it was a Western character that kind of got adapted into superhero. And they took a lot of that and they evolved the character. They evolved the lore behind it. And when they brought in Danny, they did that again. But it kept the same things. All the ones since have been, it's like they had, and these ones have an interesting story to tell. The other ones are just riding the coattails of a name with no story to tell.
And another factor is for those older Ghost Riders, a lot of them had great artists. Look at that 90s run. You had Tex. You had Ron Garney. You had both those guys in their prime kicking ass on Ghost Rider, which is a big selling point.
Can you name a single Ghost Rider artist on one of the more modern ones. The last one that I can
I
remember,
thought Aaron Cooter was fine. I thought he was good.
but wasn't he on a Danny Ketch one?
It was
No,
all,
he was Johnny Blaze, I think. When he
it-
brought
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it was
both in
Johnny
it.
Blaze.
Danny
Same
Ketch
with-
he had a bar, and then Johnny Blaze was the king of hell, and they were kind of in conflict with each other.
Okay, but and then the Clayton Crane one from the early 2000s.
Now we're talking.
Well, I guess it was mid 2000s.
Clayton Crane's awesome.
Yeah, so you had his one, but that was either Danny or Johnny. I think it was Johnny. So, but I'm talking about any of the modern legacy Ghost Rider characters after Danny. You can't name a single fucking artist on a single one of them books.
We've also got Mark Isaac Ebb, I believe. This is from South Africa. I believe that's what that is. Honestly, for me, the passing of the mantle is only appropriate if the original character passes it on or dies. I agree completely, Josh. If you go and you take the mantle, no one's ever going to accept it. The character needs to pass away, and there needs to be a character progression into the mantle and accepting the responsibility that they don't want a lot of times. Or it needs to be passed on like, hey, I can't do this anymore. I'm too beat up. I need you to kind of take over. I think it works better that way, Josh.
Agreed. I completely agree. I do think there are some instances when, like if you have a mantle, like kind of Black Widow or even Iron Fist, but even then Iron Fist, you have to earn it. Black Widow is kind of like they've made it out to be a program that you can kind of step your way into. I think those situations, yeah, you have more leeway. If you've got a Batman or a Flash, no, you need to earn it or have it passed down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are definitely you can pass on the mantle of Batman at least temporarily, but it has to be like a Dick Grayson or a Tim Drake. I think they're just getting way too willy-nilly with it as far as who's earned the mantle. We've also got Federico De La Casa. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. For Doctor Strange 2, we had 2 seconds of Norman Osborn in the trailer at half the time in Spider-Man No Way Home. Can't imagine what's in, and the trailer does not show it. More Norman Osborn, Doc. What the hell, man? This is going to be dope.
I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm down. That's
What do you think, Karen? Was that your favorite part of Spider-Man No Way Home?
Yeah, but I hope they don't depend way too much on all these appearances in Doctor Strange, because sometimes they get a little dependent on the member berries. Like, look who we have back. Look who we have back. It's like, can we just make sure we do a good story with it? And I think Spider-Man did do that.
Absolutely. You don't want to get too reliant on the nostalgia of the older characters like showing up and falling off of the story. But I have faith, especially Sam Raimi, that dude.
Yeah.
He was able to make Evil Dead a great movie. You know what I mean? That thing was made for like $12 because he's a good storyteller. We've also got Cal Lyle. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Tom King's next book, Inside My Mommy. That's fucked up, man. You've been listening to Doc too long, sir.
Dr. Freud. Yeah.
My goodness. Goblin says, we know Pei is a character. She had a fish out of water arc trained and connected with Danny, and Pei earns her Iron Fist. If legacy character the good right way, like Wally, War Machine, and Stargirl.
I don't know if I would consider Pei earned. I mean, that still felt forced to me. In that the was that the Carrie Andrews one, or was that the Larry Hama one that was recently? I thought it was the Larry Hama.
She was in that one as well.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that's when she became the Iron Fist.
She never became Iron Fist. I think that's what people are pissed. They're like, you have an Iron Fist in waiting. Pei had been training and had been with Danny for a long time. Why is Lin Lee Iron Fist when you have Pei sitting there? That kind of the character paid her dues.
You know what? Fuck this. I want Luke Cage Iron Fist.
There's an idea.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't know, Skip. Can black dudes do kung fu?
I don't know. Can they?
I don't know. You're a black dude. I figure you know.
I know everything about all black people because I'm black. I don't know. I used to take taekwondo, jujitsu, judo.
Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, there you go, Wesley Snipes. Yeah,
Jim Kelly did in Enter the Dragon.
Yep.
Jim, that's right. Damn.
We can get
throwback.
We can get Iron Fist Blade.
Now, who's going to be mad at Iron Fist Blade? I don't know, but like Power Man with the Iron Fist, I don't know. I mean, like the worst ideas have been published in comics. Come on, let's
That's
be
true.
honest.
Didn't Lou Alcindor fight Bruce Lee once in a movie?
Yeah. Yeah, put his big old footprint on his chest.
Yeah, because Lou Alcindor is like 7 foot tall. Bruce Lee's probably like 5'6".
Dude, I almost didn't realize you were talking about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar because you
I think
used
he was
his
still Lou
older
Alcindor
name.
when he did that.
I think he was, but I was like, Lou Alcindor, like what other NBA player was that? Oh, that's Kareem. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was Lou back then.
Yeah, I'm just trying to use the name at the time so people know what the credits are. But
yeah, I get it. His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. I get it.
I don't know. We got Wraith X7. They should have given Danny Rand the new non-mystical power to turn his hands and forearms into metal and have him be a hero for hire with Luke under his real name. I don't know. I'd say put them together. I think it'd work.
Why not?
What do you think, Drew? Can you sell a comic book called Heroes for Hire with Danny Rand and Luke Cage is like I don't know, Lethal Weapon style buddy comedy team up book?
I think so. The right artist and the right writer. Yeah, absolutely. You can sell anything. I mean, Skip
Plus,
said
we're
earlier.
giving all these powers away. Might as well give Danny a new power.
I mean, Skip said, they're selling some of the dumbest ideas right now, but that doesn't sound too dumb with the right writer and right artist. That could be a hit right there.
Agreed.
I think Christopher Priest writing that, Quantum and Woody style. Yes, it would be damn good.
Yeah, throw a little Marco Cicchetto on there, it'd be badass.
Ooh,
Kicking ass and taking names left and right. Yeah, that's a great idea. They should definitely do Heroes for Hire. That's a comic book worth printing. We've also got You Murder That Guy from North of the Border. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Panel, how close are you in percentages to dropping the big two and go indie manga back issues only Hong Kong? If I didn't have the channel, I probably would have done it already.
Nope.
There are still
Pay
good
me.
comic books out there, and I still enjoy it, but
I don't care about indies. I don't give a fuck about manga. Sorry, you're never gonna make me.
I'm pretty much I'm anti-Doc. I'm pretty much already there. I don't give a F about the big two. I don't give a F about ongoing series and long. I just don't care. I love comics more than I love Cape books and all that other stuff. Like people forget Cape books took a while to even get popular in comics, or as long as comics, like in the earlier inception of it and everything. I love comics more than I love Cape books. I just want really good stories, and I don't care if they're 3 issues. I don't care if it's a one shot. I don't care if it's an anthology, a short story. I don't care if it's 100, issue saga. I just want a good story. So I'm pretty much already there.
All the
I
rest
like
of
a
that
good
shit.
shared comic universe because the effects are bigger. They kind of ripple throughout the titles, but the way that DC and Marvel are managing them, you're not getting that. So it's like
no, there is no continuity, pretty much.
You know what I mean?
Right now.
All right, Carrie, are you ready to give up the big two, or you're holding on?
I'm already there. You know that.
I know. Maybe the viewers didn't know.
Yeah.
If you go to Carrie's
already
channel,
did.
you're not going to see any big two coverage. It's going to be mostly manga.
Nice.
Indies.
Yeah.
All right. What about you? My goodness, Drew. You ready to give them up?
No, absolutely. No, Sean, Kyle, and I, we're not. We're still going to be reading them. It's the never-ending battle for us. We're still going to be.
We still have hope because we're the dumbest guys in the room, Drew.
Exactly. Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
I can read all of those indie book type stories. I can see them in any other medium for fucking TV show budget. I cannot see superhero stuff done well on a regular basis on television or any other medium budget. That's simple.
I don't know. There's a lot of Marvel books right now you could do on a Netflix budget.
Well, that's the problem. They started making
Yeah.
they started making the comics down to the television budget instead of doing the
I don't think
crazy
you
shit
can make
that you
East
can't.
and West on a television budget.
That's why it's not made yet, because it got optioned so long ago.
The thing would be really, really expensive. There's a lot of really good sci-fi comics, Doc.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing stuff that you could never imagine. Obviously, we haven't heard from Josh. What do you think? Are you ready to give up DC and Marvel?
He's
Uh-oh.
thinking.
Is Josh there? He's muted, so I'm going to assume that he's gone. Never mind, Josh. No one cares what you think. We've also got Mr. DC Comics. Mantle swaps only make sense if the original characters are allowed to grow older and retire, or the original dies in battle.
That's
And
when they
for the
make
reasons
some
they
of the
don't
most
work.
sense.
Yeah.
Again,
one of
that's
the mitigating factors.
it's always been my opinion that becoming a superhero is way too egotistical of a pursuit for someone to willingly, regularly put themselves intentionally in the shadow of someone else. Sorry, it is.
I don't know. I think if Superman did something really bad and he killed a bunch of people, I think he'd give it up if he felt like he had to.
No, what I mean is nobody else. I mean, the legacy, the Mantle character wouldn't want to exist. If there's already a Batman, or if there's a Batman that's still running around, the amount of ego that it takes to put on a costume and go put yourself above the law in the first place, they are unlikely to want to be compared to the other guy that is either currently or recently did that job.
Well, unless they were idolizing. You got plenty of that in wrestling. So I don't know. Mr. DC Comics definitely has a point. Because the characters aren't allowed to grow older, you kind of have to kill them off to do a successful Mantle swap. And we know they aren't willing to kill anybody off. So I think that's definitely one of the things holding back.
Those are some of the better Mantle swaps, where the ones have gotten older or retired or died, like Kyle Rayner, Wally West.
Those are the ones that stick.
Yeah. There was a reason for them to take over, a logical reason for them to take over.
All right, so we got an update from Josh. He said his internet cut out, but he will return. We've also got Goblin Sets, who says, then again, if Wong's going to take after Tom Taylor and John Kent, then it's a blessing in disguise that Pei is not the Iron Fist. I feel Wong would have butchered her. She would have made a lot of changes. Alyssa Wong would have to old Pei. If you're a fan of the character, it's probably a good thing that she didn't take it up.
Well, hey, maybe that's going to be her trick, for issue 5, to get another spell like bring her in as the Iron Fist.
That's you keep it going.
Yeah.
Alyssa Wong's just not a very good writer. Obviously, I had that video on her this week where she was talking about making Star Wars super gay. It's kind of a weird sentiment. My point.
Couldn't believe it.
It's crazy. We also got Common Sense once again. Marvel, Alyssa Wong making Lin Lee in Iron Fist is them saying Asian characters are not good enough with their own original hero mantles.
Yeah. This is like
feels like that. Yeah,
it's like you could have done something really good with Swordmaster, even though I felt like he was too much of a manga stereotype. But you could have really developed that, even with shattering the sword and giving him those powers. You didn't have to make him Iron Fist.
Well, the weird thing about the comic book, Drew, is it's a Swordmaster comic. He's trying to put the sword back together to keep the demon that the original sword was originally keeping in place, and he's got the shards of the sword in his hands. He just happens to be Iron Fist now.
Yeah, but the thing is with the character himself, the way she wrote him, there was nothing special about him.
No.
Really. I mean, the way she wrote him. If I were a newbie coming into this, and you spend the last half of the comic of them having dinner, like really, this is your first issue where you're supposed to sell us on this character, and you're having dinner.
Hey,
No.
what is there for dessert? That is the fucking cliffhanger.
If they wanted to really shock me, if they really wanted to shock me, they would have had like Danny Rand thrown in through like a glass window in the middle of their dinner, smashing the table. I'm like, oh crap, what the hell is this? But
Wouldn't that be crazy if you just like jumped through the window and just killed Lin Lee right there and took the Iron Fist back? Said,
sold.
I'm back in the game, coach.
Yeah.
Or we can see how quickly Lin Lee tries to run away from his own dinner because Danny Rand showed up.
It's just it's a weird comic. It's just rutted. We've also got Wolfstein 3D. They want to have a blank slate they can mold from scratch, but still cash it on known characters' name recognition. Those two ideas run directly counter to each other. That is completely correct, Carrie. They want this character that they want to create from scratch, but they don't want to do the work that it takes, the years that it takes to get a character like that to stand out and really make something of them. So they have to go steal another mantle, but put another character in there so then they can make all their changes.
It's like they don't have faith in the new characters. They did the same thing in Agents of Atlas. They had all these new characters, but more of the focus was on Amadeus Cho and Silk.
Well, Lin Lee obviously was an Agents of Atlas as well. Yeah.
But he was just
Didn't stay
there. No, just there.
Yeah. Actually, Doc and I have a video that will be up on Tuesday about this idea, but obviously we will expand on that by about 20 minutes. We've also got NWO Slave. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. How do you feel about Elektra taking the mantle of Daredevil? See, this would make sense to me because Daredevil was in prison. There was no one to take care of Hell's Kitchen. There needed to be somebody there, and Elektra has very similar training to Daredevil. Obviously, she doesn't have all of his powers because she could see and she doesn't have heightened senses and everything. But technically speaking, physically, she can kind of do the same stuff that Matt does. There's a relationship between the two characters that's been there for decades, and he was out of the seat. So it kind of made sense to me that if you needed a new Daredevil, that Elektra would have made sense to take over the mantle.
Yeah.
Doc, tell me I'm wrong. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, like, I would have thought Blind Spot was going to take his spot initially, but that didn't happen. But yeah, it makes sense to me.
It's because nobody cared about fake Gambit. No, I still don't like Elektra taking over the role of Daredevil. Like, I don't see why she would. I mean, I understand like the whole Protect Hell's Kitchen thing.
No, the reason she's doing it because her and Stick know that they need to have a king and a queen to take down the hand forever, but the king has to die to do it. And so she's trying to get his confidence so he'll join her, but he doesn't know he's going to die, and she does.
No, I mean, I get that, but none of that really relies on her needing to be Daredevil, like to call herself Daredevil. None of that relies on that. That's incidental.
No, she's doing it to gain his trust. See, I'm a good guy now. I'm the Daredevil. I took care of your community while you were in prison. That's
but
the reason.
I understand that, but none of that says I have to be Daredevil. It says I have to be a hero. It does not mean I have to be Daredevil. That's my point. That's it. There's
they
nothing.
Could have used another name, but if you're going to have somebody replace Daredevil, Elektra makes sense.
Yes, no, I agree. Elektra, but I just don't see the need to replace Daredevil.
She didn't replace him, man. Obviously, he's in prison. He's out now, but we'll see what happened to that story. Way to get us arguing, NWO Slave, you rascal, you. We've also got Common Sense. To be fair, had anyone reviewed Marvel's New Asian Heroes so far? The only person I know who reviewed them was Eric July. He said Arrow is better than Carol Danvers. I did review Agents of Atlas. There was a couple of the issues in there, but once I realized that they put only bad writers on them, I like Greg Pak like a decade ago, but this Greg Pak that we have now just isn't all that great. So I tried to do it. You know, there was like a new Filipino hero in there, a new Korean hero. I've kind of lived in all those places. Obviously, I'm in the Philippines now, but I just couldn't stick around for the long haul, Carrie. It was too much.
Yeah, Greg Pak is a shell of who he used to be. It's a shame.
It was bad.
I don't think many people are still reading those comic books, unfortunately. We've also got Common Sense. Indies and manga are better. They have creative freedom. What do you think, Skip?
Indies are better. Oh, indies and manga are better. They have more. I mean, that is one of the aspects to me personally that's so appealing is that you're not always weighed down by like decades of continuity. That it is important for people that have been reading those decades, are reading for decades to feel like their time and their money and an emotional investment into those properties are respected and held intact. Throughout their journey of being with the customer. That is one. But yeah, it's one of the things that I appreciate about indies in manga. I can't say that they're better just because of that, because if someone has a really creative idea for a Capes book and they execute it better than someone's, uber, free flowing idea in an indie book, the Cape book, or the Big Two book can be better than the other one. And, I barely read any Marvel or DC, but I am reading Arkham City, The Order of the World with Danny and Dan Waters, because they're some of my favorite creative teams. Yep. And that book is better than some of the indie books that I read that I actually do enjoy. So it doesn't.
That's more of an indie book in the DC universe, though.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, you could say that, and like I see the point that you're making, but it is those characters who have decades of continuity and all of the things that we were kind of arguing. We were kind of comparing what makes one better than the other, or what one allows one to possibly be better than the other. But with that said, it's always going to come down to execution and the effort that someone puts in the story, but ultimately execution that allows one to be better than the other. So one isn't automatically better, but as far as appeal, indies are easily more appealing to me than that. And then also those creators are really depending on this book to take off, because most of the time they're not getting paid a page rate, or they're not getting paid a page rate, whether it's script or pencils or whatever, coloring. So a lot of times, not always, but they're like really not getting paid. They're working for that, and they're betting on themselves. So there's an extra additional inspiration that I often find where they're really doing some of the work of their lives, and it's really compelling. And it just speaks to me. So hopefully more of y'all out there, if you're not giving indie, I'm sure a lot of you are at this point, but if you're not giving indies and mangas a chance, please do, because you'll be doing yourself a favor if you find something that really speak to you.
You definitely get a sense that a lot of the creators that are doing stuff with Marvel and DC characters, they would never do that to their own characters, because they know they would be destroying it. We do have Federico de la Casa. I bet my money that a Danny Luke series with solid art would beat the new Iron Fist any day. Wouldn't need any powers. Storm led the X-Men with no powers for years. I think you're right.
Yeah.
Plus, Danny is still a badass kung fu master. He didn't forget all of it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yep.
He does first have to catch him and keeps running away.
You gotta catch Lin Lee. It's like Rocky when he's got the grease pig, or was it a chicken? Like once you caught the chicken, you're ready for the fight.
It's nothing but a giant episode of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Just following him around, doing the mystery.
I'll pay for that.
We got Cal Lyle. How many of you were surprised that Billy Boy said something nice?
Oh, Bill Sienkiewicz.
I'm not surprised, because I think when you look at it from another perspective on the things that you love and you treasure from when you were a kid, you finally, then you see it from that perspective. Then you finally see it from the fans' point of view. What do you think, Gary?
Yeah, I think when it finally happens to something they love, then they are more than happy to jump in and say it. But if it's like something they're not like a fan of, I notice, and they're like, "Oh no, but why does it matter?"
Yeah, it's just a different point of view. I bet he doesn't even ironically understand what he was saying.
They're fine with anyone breaking other people's favorite shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, it ends up affecting everyone. We got Jordan Fugate, also known as Jordan Fugate. I love some of the characters too much to ever completely give up the big two. It's getting more and more challenging, though. Pull list is smaller than ever. You know what? I've noticed this with Josh. You're reading Nightwing, correct? Because we both love Nightwing. It's Josh.
Losing him again.
Oh no, we lost him.
Terrible for Josh.
I've been there. I feel
He's got the worst internet today. But it is one of those things that, Doc, obviously you've been reading X-Men through all the bad years. You haven't really had a good...
He's back.
Yay.
Kind of. Are you there, Doc?
Am I back? Josh? Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Have you...
Okay.
Josh,
I'm over here cussing like a sailor. So... yes. Yes.
Have you noticed that
Tom
Tom Taylor has this Nightwing run? It's doing pretty well, but nothing has happened in the damn thing. We're almost like 10 issues in or whatever, but because it keeps getting interrupted, it's like, why am I still reading this thing? It's not the worst take on the character, but nothing is happening.
Yeah, no. The moment they stopped to step into fear state, the book itself just got derailed. And it already had some questionable things going on, but overall it was solid. It was a solid read. It was good. But yeah, it has not gone anywhere because it's been fear state, and now they're crossing over with Superman, Son of Kal-El, and there's too much just bullshit getting in the way.
So it's like a Disney Plus show.
Absolutely. So it does get obviously Skip kind of already gave up, and sounds like Carrie already gave up. Is this something that you're hearing from your customers, Drew, where people are finding it more and more challenging to find things in the big two to keep on their pull list?
Yeah, we've noticed a lot of the pull lists have gotten smaller with some of our customers. You know, there's still, like I said before, there's still going to be the Amazing Spider-Man collectors, the Batman collectors, but a lot of people coming in, you know, we have a lot of indie readers. You know, I like to think Ernie, he's been pushing a lot of the indies, and Kyle and I, we've been pushing a lot of the indies in our reviews, like Animal Castle. Animal Castle is amazing. And King of Spies and others, you know, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But yeah, there's so much more excitement from the indies right now than the main two, which is sad and shocking, but it just feels like they're just not trying as hard as the indies are to tell a good story.
Doc would love Animal Castle, but he won't even give it a try. It's
Wow.
He would absolutely love it. We've also got Dylan Lindsay. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. My Hero Academia is like a love letter to superheroes. I hate to say it, but it's been consistently better than what the big two have given us for years. Carrie, that's why a lot of people have gone to manga.
Yeah, it's like classic Marvel. You have a character who actually has to grow and develop and earn the abilities he's been handed and live up to his idol. And he has this great mentor. It's like you don't get that much anymore in big two.
Yeah. So what do you think about that, Skip? Are you dipping your toe into manga? I know I am.
I like some of the older stuff, so I'm still reading through the 35th anniversary edition of Akira, and then I also have some of Ghost in the. I got to finish up some of the end of the original Ghost in the Shell, but I've already started reading some of Ghost in the Shell 2 by Masamune Shirow. So that's kind of where I'm. I like it's the same way with anime. Like it's hard for me to get into a lot of the newer stuff. Like I tried like either watching it with my kids or
you know, like Chainsaw Man.
I don't even know what Chainsaw Man is. I've never.
That's a good
This is
one.
my first time hearing
Dude,
about
this is
Chainsaw
good.
Man.
It's really good.
Oh, really? Okay. See, and that's the odd thing. Like, I don't know. It's part of it's the animation style. I grew up on the older anime, and I grew up on the older anime, so naturally the older manga having like that similar style is kind of what speaks to me. So I don't know. I'm still trying to catch up on some of the stuff that like I watched, but I didn't read when I was younger, like Fist of the North Star and all that other stuff. So
yeah, it's like if you want an interesting take on Superman, go read One Punch Man. It's fantastic.
Yes.
everybody talks about it, but you know Superman is like my least favorite superhero, so like that's hard. It's hard to hook me on on that.
That's because Skip doesn't like Hope, apparently.
No room
for it.
I mean,
Come on.
it's weird. I like depression, despair, depravity, but I don't like Tom King, and so I don't know. Like I'm really conflicted.
You're liking, what is it, Human Target?
Well, yeah, because Greg Smallwood is on
I'm
it.
just
Like
teasing you. Everyone says that Human Target's pretty good. Other than the Guy Gardner thing, everyone likes it.
I didn't think the Guy Gardner thing was that big of it because I watched your video and then I watched your video before I read it, and then I went back and read it and I was like, it's not that
I don't
big
think
of a
you're a
deal.
Green Lantern reader.
I mean, I like Guy Gardner since I was younger, but I don't know. Like, it didn't seem too far away from what his character could be, but also, I mean, like, that's not who he normally is too. So it's Tom King. What did you expect? I mean, I expected worse. At least he didn't say, "Oh yeah, you know, like I never wanted my child."
Yet. That's
and all
when he
that.
does the coup de grace. He really destroys a character.
Well, usually it's around 4 or 5.
4
though,
or 5
but-
is the first little destroy, and then at 11 is when he obliterates. Like,
no, you're
right.
You're right. That's usually when he wipes them off the face of the planet to no one would ever want to be a
Like
fan
Adam
of the
Strange
character,
is a war criminal who like gave his daughter to the aliens and didn't
Right.
tell his wife, and she's got to murder him just to get her kid back.
Mr.
Mhm.
Terrific's glad his unborn baby died in a car accident. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's your issue 4 teaser. Let you
It's
know
true.
something really bad's going to happen. Like,
Point taken.
God,
Point taken.
Tom King. We've also got Cal Lyle. When I was sketching my fan comic of Nubia, in one of them, she gets interviewed by Clark Kent and asks her, "Are you replacing Wonder Woman?" She said no, and she says there's only one Wonder Woman. Well,
No, she's going to be replacing.
she's replacing Paulina
Yeah.
as the new queen of the Amazons. But I get what you're saying. Unfortunately, I don't think Vita Ayala and Stephanie, what's her name?
Phillips.
Williams? I think it's Williams. No, it's Williams.
I can't keep the two of them straight. They're two
I
Stephanies.
think Stephanie Phillips
Both of
is
them
the Harley
suck.
Quinn writer, and Stephanie
Oh, yep,
Williams
yep,
is the
yep,
co-writer in Nubia, I believe. I don't think that they agree with you, Cal Lyle, unfortunately.
But they're all
Man,
interchangeable. The problem is they're all interchangeable. They all write almost exactly the same. That's the problem.
Yep.
Well,
Why
I
you
don't
think
know.
I can't
We'll see
tell the
how.
difference?
What's the buzz on Child of the Amazons there, Drew? People lining up for that one?
I asked Ernie about it. He was like, "What?" He had no clue I was talking about.
There's an event.
Yeah, he was like, "What?" And just he had
Like
no
the
clue.
first big Wonder Woman event in like 20 years.
Yeah, and we're not ordering it. Yeah, as far as I know.
Absolutely insane. We've also got Calawild once again. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. I'm glad I made the decision, and she explains why she looks up to Diana. It was trained by her, and the response was good. That's
good news.
We kind of talked about that earlier, is where the new characters, I think they take on the personality of the writers, where there's no appreciation before what came before them. So, they can kind of just take the mantle, and it feels like it should have been theirs to begin with, rather than understanding that there's more than just saying that you're Wonder Woman. You kind of have to earn it.
Yep. That's dangerous thinking there, Wes. I don't know if you can do that.
I know. I'm a thought criminal. It happens. We've also got Eric O'Sullivan. Now, this guy, if you follow him on Twitter, apparently he's a chef, man. He got some good pictures of food and stuff. He's also got a very interesting YouTube channel if you haven't been checking out Eric O'Sullivan. It's funny. Modern women are encouraged to keep their last names in marriage, yet all too happy to steal a male character's code name. Ida, happy Saturday, gang. Much love to Funny Books. Huzzah. Yeah, what the hell, Carrie? This is some bullshit. What are you doing to us?
Hey, I ain't doing it. Carol Danvers doing it.
You're a modern woman. You're stealing our code names. Next thing you know, you're going to be trying to call yourself the D-Man.
I read manga.
Hey! Remember when Emma Frost tried to be the Black King? Because women
I don't
can
remember
be
that.
kings. Oh, it was during
King.
that.
I
You
thought
can't
you
be
said
queens
King.
anymore.
I was
I
like,
heard
that
that
would be
too.
really strange.
No, the Black King.
Oh,
Yeah, it was during that terrible fucking X-Men Black.
I thought you said Black Kang. I was like,
Black
that doesn't
Kang.
even make sense. Maybe it would be a good story.
Trying to be a Black Cane.
Like the Kang,
weird.
King the Conqueror, the Black Kang. Like,
Okay. I got you.
wouldn't that be a weird story there, Skip?
I thought
could
you
write
said
it.
Black Cane, like she's trying to be a black walking cane. Like what
Maybe.
good would that do?
Oh.
We are getting what are we getting? The super, not the Super Friends. We're getting the Wonder Twins. Maybe one of
Wonder
them will be a
Twins.
Cade.
Yeah.
Before above a Cade. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, Eric. And definitely go check him out and follow him on Twitter if you want to see some funny takes and some good food. We've got Odin 87. I think this is, where is this one? I think it's Uruguay, maybe? I think it is. Batman Beyond was a great passing of the torch with its mentor-student dynamic between an old Bruce and a young, brash Terry. They don't always see eye to eye. Terry makes mistakes, but it's a partnership that works. Another thing that works about that one, Doc, is that it's set in the future.
Yes, it's set in a future where Bruce couldn't possibly be Batman anymore. There's no chance. He's like 90 years old, and he's crippled. There is no way that even with that suit he could possibly be. Like, it's that indeterminate future. It's not sticking a time on it.
Spider-Man 2099.
Yes.
That's why it works too.
Yes, the 2099 universe worked for that reason. The MC2 universe, like their basics, the basic mechanics of them, the Batman Beyond universe, all of those work because of the basic mechanics of nobody's going to be sitting there going like, man, I wish the real fucking Spider-Man would come back in Spider-Man 2099. You'll never have that. Because he's dead. He's
that
old.
first episode of Batman Beyond, you'll never forget it when Bruce, the opening of the episode, Bruce is having that heart attack, a heart problem, and he grabs a gun and almost shoots someone. And it ends with him saying never again. Perfect reason why to give it up.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So that's how you do it. I think that's much more effective. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. We've also got Lane Kramer says, I got my order in for JL Avengers reprint. I'm so looking forward to this. Some positive news. Let's all tip a cap to George Perez and some cooperation. I think it's fantastic what they're doing. Obviously, we're going to talk about that a little bit more in depth here in a second. The thing I would warn you about, and I believe Drew will know this better than I, is that there are only 7,000 printed. I guarantee you the orders are over 7,000 already.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a good chance that you're going to be put into like some type of lottery system Or
Yeah, there's
you
gonna
might
be
be racked and
allocations.
stacked by your comic shop.
Yeah, there'll probably be allocations, and there's going to be a lot of upset people, including us. But yeah, that's what's going to happen.
But
Unfortunately,
I do hope everyone gets their hands on it because I think it's a fantastic idea.
I was going to say, I talked to my comic shop yesterday and I asked them what they plan on doing. And they said, realistically, they're probably only going to get 2, maybe 3 copies in. So they're either looking at doing a raffle or doing like an auction. So,
yeah, it's kind of the reality that we're looking at. I do hope everyone gets a copy, but it is going to be very difficult. Hopefully they up the print number on that one.
You know, it certainly seems modern Disney and AT&T / Disney / whatever the fuck they are, or Discovery, to intentionally make a collector's item out of a benefit book for a man that's dying. That's totally fucking the level of class that I would expect from them.
It's not quite putting Stanley's blood in the ink, level depravity, but it's.
Jeez, guys, we're supposed to be happy about this announcement.
No, I'm happy that they're doing it. The idea of portioning it and limiting the print run. Fuck you, people. Fuck you and your fuck your mouse and fuck whatever the fuck symbol AT&T's is.
Oh, I thought you said mouse. I was like, whoa.
No, mouse.
That's why they call him the demonetizer.
Like Mickey.
Like,
fuck Mickey.
Doc's over here talking about like skull fucking people. Like family show, man. God. We've also got Sigma Comics here. Thank you so much to HH, the crew out there. Listen to the panel. Keep it indie. Stay tuned to Thinking Critical 24/7. The only thing Big Two has over the indies these days is years of continuity. Sure, it isn't quality. It's the shared comic universe and those characters that you just see everywhere. They're just kind of ingrained in your mind. And the fact that they can put so much of it out, with an indie creator, you're probably not stuck with, but you probably have your artists that you work with. So you're limited on the amount of output. Obviously, we're seeing things change with Spawn, but it's definitely one of the limiting factors that happen on indie comics. But there's so many good ones out there right now. I know a lot of people are finding some salvation out there because DC and Marvel they are not bringing it, if you ask me. We got Common Sense here. Thank you so much. Wes, wish you brought Perch. I would like his opinion on how Carrie Andrews would feel about his character Pei. Was sidelined by Marvel Wong in favor of Lin Lee. Perch did meet Andrews. Yes, I believe they are friends, or at least friendly. Obviously, Perch will be back on, but I know he's been busy. We did get him on a couple weeks ago, but he's going through a big transition as far as his move and everything. But
I think Common Sense wants Carrie Andrews on, not Perch.
Well, I wouldn't mind Carrie Andrews on too. He seems like a cool guy. I got a few things I wouldn't mind talking to him about as far as Erratic and a couple other comics, but
yeah,
I wouldn't mind hearing what Andrews has to say about the Pei character as well. I think he put a lot of work into that character. We've also got Cal Lyle. I think Fist of the North Star should be read to teach small boys how to be alpha males. Is that why you're reading it, Skip? So you can be an alpha male?
I always wanted to be one. I figured this is the best place to start.
You toxic male. What are you doing? You got daughters.
I know. I feel so ashamed. But hey, girls, Dad's going to be an alpha male, and you're going to be an alpha male too. Let's read Fist of the North Star together. I'm just raising two daughter female alpha males, man. There you go.
Those worst things that could happen, I guess. They could be reading, I don't know, a lot of other bad comic books. So definitely fun talking about that one. I think we've got pretty much through all of these. Thank you so much to everyone for supporting the channel. It was very generous. Does anyone else have anything to say about the Mantle swaps? I think we ended up covering it pretty much all the way through the super chats.
Only going to be more.
The only one that I will accept moving forward is Speedball as Black Panther.
Speedball Black Panther's got potential.
I love it. I think it's perfect, and add some diversity to Wakanda, motherfuckers.
There you go.
There you go.
Now the next big story, obviously we hit it on a little bit. They are reprinting the Justice League of America Avengers reprints. Kurt Busiek with George Perez's wonderful pencils on there. They're going to be doing the entire issue plus 60 pages of bonus material. It's going to be about $30, but it is only 7,000 copies. Drew, I imagine the demand was very high.
Oh, absolutely. On our end, I know we tried to order a lot, but yeah, the allocations, it sucks. Allocations are a pain. We saw that with Berserker. We got allocated those on one of the issues. I think it was issue 3. But even if you can't get this, get JLA Avengers in March, the absolute edition of his Wonder Woman run comes out from DC Comics. That is amazing. You want to talk about like epic badassness compared to most books today? George Perez's Wonder Woman is astonishing. If you can't get the JLA Avengers,
Yeah, I'm gonna wait for that.
Is the Absolute Crisis still in print?
not as far as I know. Not the those on the secondary market are expensive. It's stupid how much of these absolute editions cost now because they're just out of print. Like the JLA Avengers, that is ridiculous in the secondary market. Trying to get
I understand JLA Avengers having not currently being in print because you always have the fights over the rights and shit whenever it's intercompany crossovers, but absolute editions not being in print is stupid.
Yes,
because that would be perfect to be pushing right now. DC could push that, and fucking Marvel could be pushing in. If they want to do something to help George, push his Avengers omnibus.
Ooh, yeah, there we go.
Boom. There
Well, the thing is about that, Doc, too. They have on discount that Avengers. I got it here on my table. The Avengers Vibranium collection, that huge, oversized. Yeah, his Avenger stuff is in that. Like the first, I think 5-6 issues. People need to be getting those on discount from Diamond.
Yeah. So, no, but like, look, I think it's ridiculous. I do legitimately think it's ridiculous that they would not publish, print an absurd amount of this. Why would they intentionally limit it?
That's what I want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why? Where did this 7,000 number come from? And part of me wonders because they said it's landing in March, right, Drew?
Yes.
I wonder if the 7,000 is just they're trying to rush it out, or if the 7,000 is because I'm wondering if they weren't smart enough to think that they're like, okay, we want to do this, but we want all proceeds to go to charity, so we're not going to make a profit, so we're going to limit ourselves to this number, as opposed to potentially making a better decision if that's the reason they're doing 7,000 as a quote unquote a cost analysis, which even then you can do it as a write-off. Anyway, I don't know. I just want to know why they're doing 7,000 because it seems stupid. And I feel like even if you wanted to have a charitable aspect to it, but the company still wanted to make some type of profit to recoup whatever losses they may have, you could say 25% or 50% of this is going to charity. But if you allowed it to where people could buy 30, 40, 50, 60,000, you're still going to get more than the 7,000.
It probably does have to do with like print queue. You know how it's like so many books, at least with the printer them, like speaking to them and kind of, with the relationship saying like, hey, this is months out, but, and they're like, yeah, get it to us when we get it to us. Cause like publishing schedules don't always stick, but it probably was like okay, this is where, unfortunately George is right now. Let's see if we can do this. And, they know that time is of the essence with this thing. So I think it is mostly a matter of them trying to push something into the print queue priority and hoping that they can get it out, in time, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Because nothing that I think nothing else really makes sense, especially for all the reasons that we're sitting here discussing of how it would be more beneficial. Simply the fact that it'd be more beneficial if more of them were printed and how that can create more of an opportunity for more charity and all those things. So I can't imagine it being anything other than this is like, hey, can we push this to the front, make this priority, get it out as quick as we can. And when they went and talked to the printers, they were like, this is the best that we can do for you with everything else that we already have in the queue.
Yeah, because alternatively, you might have to sacrifice one of your 47 variants for some book.
Or one of your 80 Batman comics that are
that's what Gabriel just said.
Yeah, I was about to comment on Gabe's comment because it's probably the more accurate I mean, I think it's probably a combo of timing. Let's try to get this out while George is still alive. And then a good portion is probably what Gabe commented on. And he put, I don't know if Doc, you're able to bring it up, but he put, it wouldn't surprise me if they shorted JLA and Avengers because they need to reserve paper for the 75 different Batman titles. Yeah, they're probably like, we can only do this much because we still need to get these excess of titles out, including these 30 titles that don't sell worth a shit.
Yeah, I can't put that one up for whatever reason. I don't have privileges to do that here.
Gotta pay the bills.
Yeah, but he's not wrong. I mean, God forbid they sacrifice or maybe push back one of the 970 fucking variants or the 38 Batman titles that are coming out this week. Maybe only 37 come out in order to get an extra 5,000 copies of that printed. You know, Marvel's the same way. They could both send the same printer file, the same print file to their respective print companies, and be like, "Here, I'll do 7,000. You do 7,000. We got 15,000. Or I'll do 7,500. You do 7,500. We got 15,000 copies at least for the first week release, and then we'll keep it in print for a while."
Yeah.
Let's see here. I'm logged into Diamond right now. I'm trying to see how many we ordered, how many we're going to get. Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Wait. So, Gabe, I got to ask, what privilege? Oh, wait. I acknowledge my privilege. God damn it! I did not put those two.
He's gonna fall for that.
I fucking fell for that. I didn't put two and two. God damn it!
Oh wow! Actually, I'm shocked. We haven't ordered any of this. How about that?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna get on Ernie about that. Yeah.
This is what your friendly neighborhood banker says. Doc is right. The
Yes,
worst
I
words
am
on
right.
Thinking Critical. My goodness. I don't know what you said, but I guarantee you it probably was mostly wrong. But he says Doc is right. I'll take your word for it about Pérez. No reason to limit to 7,000 unless those running it are ready to hold back copies and sell to the secondary market. Wes, keep up the great work. Now you're talking. I will try to keep up the great work. I've heard, this is what I've heard, Drew. I don't know if you guys have heard this, that the reason that they're keeping it at 7,000 so they can get it to print while George is still with us.
That's what we were kind of thinking. But at the same time, God forbid they, sacrifice, I don't know, one of the 38 Batman books that are coming out this week, bump that back a couple of weeks for an
Feels like
extra
they could-
1,000 copies.
I think they should do like 70,000, but I think they would sell a ball pretty easily.
Yeah.
I think our point is they are not actually sacrificing any of their own, even willing to bump back any of their own stuff to make space for this.
Well, they aren't making any profit off of it. All the proceeds go to Hero Initiative. So
I get that.
But I mean, the ones that are going to be making the money are going to be the ones in the secondary market bumping these up,
Right.
like on
On
eBay
eBay.
or whatever.
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
I understand the sentiment of them trying to make sure this gets out by the time, like in time for Pérez to see it get out. But especially if his family's going to benefit from this, which I'm going to assume they're going to get some sort of benefit from this, because I'm going to assume the Heroes Initiative is helping with medical fees or bills. I almost wish
specifically in a quote that they had helped him. Yes.
Yeah, I kind of wish that they would just let it come out in April or May and just get the most they could out of it. I don't know.
I hope they do a second printing of it that's a little bit
That's what I
bigger.
was gonna
But
say. Yeah.
Yeah.
hopefully.
And that might be the plan. Honestly, it might be the plan.
I don't know. Maybe Doc was right about this one. Who knows? I hope not. Were you right, Doc?
I'm always
He was
right.
right.
This is the Doc is right show.
The Doc is right. My goodness, he's tweaking me. My goodness, Doc is never right. Does anyone else have any final words on them reprinting the JLA Avengers for George Pérez?
Get the Wonder Woman Absolute Edition from DC. You can't get this.
And
Yeah.
Well,
Prices.
the only thing,
Yeah,
sorry,
absolutely.
the only thing I'll add is, and I don't think they'll do this, but if they're not planning a second print, I do hope they send this to digital and keep it as a like fundraiser type thing where the proceeds go to the Heroes Initiative, just so people can read it. Because what I'm hearing from people is there's so many people that want to read it because they can't get their hands on it and haven't been able to get their hands on it.
Yeah, it hasn't been in print for a long time. Speaking of digital, that might not be the best plan. Comixology had a bit of a disaster as they decided to transfer it over fully to Amazon. It's more like a Kindle thing now. I can tell you, as somebody overseas who has no access to a comic shop, if I wanted to go to a comic shop, I can't even drive 5 hours to get there. I have to take a plane to get to a city with an actual comic shop, which is disappointing. It makes it difficult being a comic book fan. And on top of obviously having to pay the cover price because it's imported, there's 20% on top of the cover price. And then to get it here, I have to pay a shipping charge as well. So it gets pretty expensive. Comixology has really been like a lifesaver for me. It's how I'm able to read basically weekly comics and not be a week behind everybody. I know, Skip, you're a big Comixology fan as well. This thing has just been an utter disaster. There's no other way to put it.
Man, Comixology was my favorite app on my phone. I wouldn't say it was the best app on my phone, but I love comics and, all the different deals and stuff that you can get, the sales that they had. And, the time that they had put into the to the app to make improvements over the years, it had really gotten to a point where it was very, very solid. It was much more reliable. I remember the times we used to come on here and, Perch and a few other people, would kind of like rag on it because the Comixology app had legit issues with stability and stuff like that, but they had come a long way. A lot of the filters that they had that were automatically in there, you didn't have to adjust them. You keep your reading order, or where you were. Hey, you're reading this book, you're here, you're reading this book, you're a fourth of the way through, whatever. It was just an awesome way to keep your things organized. And of course, you had the basic stuff of how you can find things alphabetically or newest to oldest, all of that stuff. So to see, I knew something bad was, I knew it was going to suck because I had already purchased some comics from Amazon that I couldn't read in the Comixology app. I had recently bought, Graffiti's Wall from Rom V because I'm hard-headed and didn't get into Rom V until like 2 years after Wes told me to, read These Savage Shores. So I'm finally like catching up on it. And that one, I didn't see that it didn't allow it in the Comixology app. You had to read it in the Kindle app. So I was like, okay, Kindle app sucked for reading comics before. It wasn't the greatest, but let me go back over there. And it was like a little bit of a struggle. It was kind of janky. I was like, And then we hear, okay, it's finally time for them to roll out this new thing. And I remember when the update came out, I kept putting it off. I was like, no, I'm not updating now. And a few days ago, I opened it up and it just like went to the splash screen and it was like, you got to update. I was like, dang. So I did the update and I went in there and I was like, they just copy pasted the Kindle app. This is just the Kindle app now, but it actually has less features. I was like, man, this is so
It's not
stupid.
made for comics at all. Like you get a double page splash and it's like this little tiny block. You can't zoom right. It doesn't go through the pages like Comixology did. It's just a terrible experience. And Perch and I had talked about this. And one of the things that we had said, Josh, was that DC and Marvel were taking a hell of a gamble letting Amazon and Comixology be the leader in digital comic books because Amazon and Comixology aren't really comic publishers. They're obviously making money off of it, but that's like the smallest sliver of profit that Amazon probably makes is off of Comixology. It's never going to be a priority for them. And what happens as soon as they make this transfer, they ruin the reading experience. I've heard of people losing thousands of dollars worth of comics, digital comics, during this transfer. They don't have access to them anymore.
Yeah, that's something they're going to have to figure out. There should be a way for them to access their comics. I know that one of the biggest issues is that anything that you had subscribed to, you're not going to get future issues. As far as things you've purchased, you should be able to get them. I know there was a scare that people that didn't do the switch over to create an Amazon login, they thought they had lost all their comics, but you can still go through and create your Amazon login and get those books back. But yeah, I like DC and Marvel, like they should have, I don't know, like Comixology mentioned that they were going to be doing this well over a year ago. And they've kind of dragged their feet in getting it done. And if I were DC or if I were Marvel, at that point in time, I would have been like, hey, we have platforms. We don't, publish our new books on here yet. We should, and just charge a premium amount. or still require you to purchase them through Marvel Unlimited or through what is the DC Infinite, but maybe for a discount or something. But they made the mistake of not jumping onto that train when they could.
Yeah, they should pool the resources and develop a better reader specifically for comic books, and then they obviously they make some money off the other publishers and whatnot. But you don't want to put all of your eggs in the Amazon basket, Drew. Obviously, you're a comic shop. This is probably a boon for you guys.
Yeah, Kyle and I, we did reviews in the past where we went on Comixology, and in my opinion, we found the navigation difficult sometimes, specifically when you wanted to focus in on a page or a panel. And I can't confirm or deny that I've been to some pirating sites that were easier to navigate and easier to manage through than Comixology.
Well, PDF comics is easier because you can do the pinch and zoom and everything.
Exactly. Yes. Downloads enough through a PDF. Yeah, it's just amazing just how, I don't want to say they're behind the curve, but like how they deem navigation through a comic is better than going through a PDF. Yeah, I don't understand that logic.
And you used to be able to download, not DC and Marvel, you used to be able to download indie comics, the file, to where you could put it in your own comic book reader that are more adaptable, and they were better. You can't even do that anymore. Carrie, it is ridiculous that DC and Marvel have fallen so behind the curve, where Shonen Jump app is like $2 a month, and you get everything, and it's actually a pretty damn good digital experience.
It is. It really is a good experience. I mean, I'm not very big on digital. I prefer to have physical copies, but because of the manga shortage, the digital app has been like a lifesaver. I'm trying to read certain volumes I can't get a hold of. But yeah, compared to when I use the Marvel and the DC apps, Shonen Jump is so much better.
Yeah, plus you get access to the entire library. You can't beat it. You could start reading whatever you want from the very first to the very end, just for the subscription.
Is it DC? You got to wait 6 months for the new release after it's released in stores.
I believe it's 3 months now.
Did they change it to 3 months?
I think that's Marvel.
Yeah, but either way, it's not right there.
Yeah.
And, you have to buy it immediately. It's crazy.
I get a new chapter every week.
Well, and plus with the Shonen Jump app, you get a little message says, "Hey, your comic showed up again," and it also obviously tells you where you can go and get it physically if you need to. This is just a wonderful idea,
right? And if you want to pay a little extra and get the full volume of a manga, you can do that too.
All right, Carrie, who's the extra member of the panel there? Who's that guy?
It's Logan.
Logan. Still naming your dogs after comic books? Is it going to be Luffy next?
Oh no. It'll probably be Zoro.
Oh, well, there we go. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Drew. What were you going to say?
Oh, I was just going to say, a few years ago, I went to the Diamond Retailer Summit in Chicago, and I remember when a lot of the retailers were there with CB Cebulski, and CB was talking about digital downloads, and a lot of the retailers weren't having it, just about the lower price for digital, like almost like the same day of release. You can go into a store and get it, and retailers were giving it to them about it. I'll never forget that. But that could be another reason why a lot of retailers and people like me just aren't big on digital. But I understand why if you live in another country, it's not easily accessible to get the physical. Yeah,
obviously we have Hawkworld down here. That's Tim Board. He lives in Japan. I live in the Philippines. I'm not sure exactly where in Japan. I imagine he's not in Tokyo, or he probably would have more access to comics. But you really need these digital readers if you want to be able to keep up, and not having a platform out there, Skip, is just, it's like cutting off this enormous portion of your audience that would want to come in there and be the new spinner rack to really introduce people to these characters.
Yeah, I mean, some of us are like myself, are fortunate enough to where I live like close to like 10 shops in my area, but some people even in the US
on the regular.
Yeah, I could just hop in the car and be like, Fantastic Comics, what's up? But not everybody can do that. Even in the US, not everybody can do that. Some people live hours. I've talked to Jimmy, and he had to drive at one point, I think it was like an hour to his nearest comic shop. So having digital, is still a great option for so many people. But but when you make it, like, because one of the things that they said is we're going to make buying comics easier, and within the Comixology app you couldn't buy comics. You had to open up a browser either on your computer or on your your mobile device. You'd have to buy it from Comixology.com, and then you go back over to the app, and then it would appear. And that was one of the things, that was one of the big selling points that Amazon was talking about. We're going to make it so you can buy the comics from within there. I went and I tried that feature. All it did was take me over to Amazon website, and then I had to search for the comic there, and it's not like with Comixology, it was only comic book. So we already know how convoluted comic book titling is. So when you type in Justice League, you're going to get all these different things.
Type in Batman and see what happens.
yeah, exactly. But now when you go over there, and if you type in Batman to Amazon, like, you have to put in Batman comic. Otherwise, you're just going to get all these different Batman toys and this and that. And I know for Amazon, they're like, we don't give a damn whether you buy, a Batman comic book or a $40 Batman, statue. We don't give a damn. But for us who are looking for our comics, it completely makes the system that much more convoluted. And I went to look for titles that I normally read, and it was so much more difficult to find them. And like I said, you can put in such and such comic, but even then it still only filters it so much. And it's still, and they attribute that tag to some of the things that aren't comics still. So you still have to sift through all this stuff that's not comic books to find what you're trying to buy. So they lied when they said they were going to make the comic buying purchasing easier within that. That is not the case. They've made it harder. And like you said, Wes, they're just cutting themselves off at the knees.
I thought the Comixology purchasing was actually pretty easy. I had it like the one button feature because I was like verified or whatever. Unfortunately, I accidentally bought a comic once that I didn't want because I accidentally hit the button. But it blew up in my face one time. Otherwise, it's good.
This comes back to the same thing that I've always said. F digital comics, because you only exist. Your comics only exist for as long as they do.
Well, this is the thing, Doc. I'm not anywhere near a comic shop, and even if I was, I've got 3 kids here. My house isn't all that big,
I know. No, I get that, but all it does is incentivize piracy.
Well, it certainly does that. Certainly this Comixology thing, but especially with the indie stuff, you could download the files, and then you would have them. Even if the Comixology went away, if you downloaded those files, they're still yours. Unfortunately, Marvel and DC, you just couldn't do it. But they need to start including that with your digital purchases, with their apps and stuff. Especially if they're going to charge the same price, Skip. That's the biggest BS. A digital copy needs to be half price.
And that's what I liked too. Like I said, one of the biggest things for me were the sales. If it was some Masterworks and it went on sale for 99 cents, like I bought up so many series, different runs, and like digital omnibus that were like on sale for 99 cents, $1,
I got lots of
$3.
X-Men. That's how I read them all.
Right. Yeah. And to your point about space, I'm running out of space in the house that I live in now. Some of these comics I don't want to collect. I kind of just really do want to rent them, get the experience, read them, and move on. I don't want them taking up space on my shelves in my room, in my attic. I don't want to turn into, that's one aspect of being Eric Breen that I don't want. I don't want my house to almost cave in and collapse.
Be a comic book hoarder?
I'm not looking to crawl over my comics to get to my Lucky Charm cereal in the morning, Eric Breen. I'm not. So digital was a very good option for me in that regard, and I mix it. I got my physicals. I still support my comic. I support multiple comic shops every week with my physicals, but then but that's a small list. The rest of them that I don't care to collect, I just wanted to get digital. And like I said, they made it harder. And it was nice to be able to download a backup copy of your indie book or whatever title did allow you to. And then if you liked other reader, I like guided view because we live in I don't care about spoilers as much, but for comics, it's difficult because and much other things, especially visual mediums like TV and movies, is sequential. So you don't see the thing until they're ready to show it to you. But in comics, how often have we all turned the page and in our peripheral vision, we saw something on the next page that spoiled the moment? We're like, damn, well, I already know that that's coming. Let me read through and then get to that point. I like guided view because it isolates to a panel. I can only see what the artist and the writer wanted me to see at that moment, focus on that, sometimes see more details and then move on. And then when it does come to that next big moment, I'm like, I literally didn't see it coming because it wasn't exposed to me earlier. So I see that as an advantage. And if you don't like that, then you can download the copy. You can put it in. You can turn it off. I always do a whole page at the end, so I would see the whole page before I went on to the next page. But it was nice to be able to put it into a different comic reader if you got your backup copy and you're like, oh, I like iComics. Cool, and you read it how you want to, but now you don't even have that option. They made you delete all the ones that were already downloaded. I had to re-download all my East of West, all my Ice Cream Man.
Oh,
it's
that must have taken days.
Ass.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be it downloads faster. It didn't download.
No, the files
faster.
are bigger.
Right.
Yeah, I can't speak to this. I think they still have the guided view in the app if you're on a mobile device. But you don't have it, and you don't have any like navigation. Yeah, and especially if you're working in comics, that's where it becomes a pain in the butt. So like when I was doing reviews on a regular basis, I would go to my desktop, pull it up, go through, take whatever screenshots I needed, and it was really easy to just transfer over. I had to go through and take like screenshots from my tablet, drop them in like Box or email them to myself, and that's a pain in the ass. Like it took me so much longer to do that, and I'm like, we're all not going to be productive now. And this is like, high level complaints. But DC was kind enough with us at Batman News that not only did we get advanced copies that were PDFs, but we had access to a Comixology library that we could go to. So if there was a character that popped up and we were like, oh crap, I don't think I've read anything about this character, we could go back and get back issues of stuff, read it, so we could actually speak to this character or have a history of this character. And now we don't have that because I think they got they should have probably been a little better prepared, but they got broadsided as well with the transition. And there were logistical reasons why they weren't transitioning to Amazon plugin yet for us, but that's not there. So we have our advanced review copies. Outside of that, there's not much we can do.
I do want to say thank you everyone that has given us a thumbs up. I think we're at 110 likes on the video. We're at over 260 viewers. We've been over 250 for quite some time. So if you want to support the channel, give us a nice thumbs up. Let everyone know we're having a good conversation here. We do have a few super chats that we need to get to that are talking about the subject. Wolfstein 3D says Amazon bought Comixology, speculating on significant growth in digital comics, which didn't happen. Now they cut their losses and absorb it into the Amazon ecosystem. Exactly. Well, we did get significant growth, well, at least for comics during the pandemic shutdown. But even that, I don't think they ever realized the exact growth that they were expecting.
And not only that, but I don't think they've kept it. I don't think they've kept a lot of that growth.
I don't know. Those numbers are so weird. They kind of put them out annually.
Yeah. So I'm betting that a lot of people during the pandemic, especially the ones that were, I guess you could say, a little more fear-based in going out, they, even after stores started opening, they kept the hiding in their house thing whenever possible. So they just didn't want to go. So they stuck around with reading, but now that it's basically over, they're going back out to shops. They likely did not stick around reading digital. They're probably back at the store buying their books normally. So it was their temporary Band-Aid.
Definitely want to say hello to AL. Hope you're doing well. And definitely, if you like Aaron Sparrow, if you have the time and you follow him on social media, go out there and tell him that you hope he's feeling well. He's not feeling all that well. He's a little under the weather right now, and he could definitely use a little pick-me-up. So go add him on Twitter if you can. Let him know that we're all thinking about Aaron Sparrow. He's a good guy. We've got another super chat from Lade Kramer. Trade paperback is here. Time to get white privilege. My goodness. Brian Rickard. I think piracy results in increased physical sales. You know what, Drew? I think this is correct if the book is good.
Yeah, I think another factor is that, like, say someone like me who isn't a fan of Tom King, and let's say this Batman Killing Time is good, I may not be inclined to buy it to read it. I may be inclined to pirate it before I get hoodwinked.
What are you, digital Blackbeard? What are you doing?
I didn't say I am. I didn't say if I were hypothetically. I'm so inclined.
What I'm saying, I think if the book is good, it could definitely result in increased physical sales. People are like, whoa, I need to pick this up.
That's true, and like we see in the numbers with manga. You know, how many billions of dollars in lost through piracy? I think like several billion lost through piracy, which is nuts because it's just that good, and they're not printing that much. But I think it's a factor of both. Both, you know, it's that good, and another one is you don't want to get hoodwinked with a bad story.
Here's the thing: the majority of people that pirate have no intention to ever buy the comic. They wouldn't buy it at any price. If it costs them money, it could cost them a penny, they wouldn't pay for it. They will read it because it's free. But there are some people that, yes, will. I think you're more likely to get lapsed readers, people that have been burned a bunch of times, that still want to keep up and have said, for instance, as the example given, Tom King. You've been burned enough by Tom King. You're not buying that fucking book anymore.
Yeah.
But if it turns out that he does a halfway decent, and you check it out on, pirated, you go, okay, maybe I'll go back and buy this one.
Yeah, I think it's all about quality.
But I don't consider those new sales. I consider that's not new readers. That's slowing down the loss of old readers, of existing readers.
So thank you very much to Brian for supporting the channel. We've also got Jimmy from Comic Works. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Skippintosh is pretty much his partner in crime here. Definitely send out some good vibes and prayers to Jimmy. His mom is not feeling well. And we definitely got her in our thoughts and prayers out here in the Philippines. And I hope you guys will all do the same. Whatever you got to give to Jimmy and his family right now, he could definitely use it. So thank you so much for joining us. And definitely check out Jimmy's channel. He's a good guy. We'll definitely have him back here on the Comics Aficionados soon.
He just has terrible taste in comic writers and artists. Other than that, I love him to death.
We can pray for that too. Hopefully Jimmy gets some better taste in comics soon. I've been asking God for a year now. It hasn't happened yet, but it'll happen.
I love Jimmy, but he's got some of the worst taste in
He forgot Roger Stern. I'll never forget that.
He did.
Well, it's not like he put the picture there.
He did.
He did.
But all that being said, best wishes to your mother, dude.
Yes.
Yeah,
Seriously, get better.
Yeah,
solid. It's good fun here. And Cal Miles says Tom King's sequel. I hate my kids. I don't know. I wouldn't read that book. How about you, Skip?
Tom King sequel. I hate my kids.
What's interesting is he's all about subverting expectations. At the end of the book, we might love his kids. You never know.
Possibly.
Yeah,
I think we will love his kids. We'll just hate him more.
Yeah, there we go.
Didn't we already kind of get a sentiment of this in Strange Adventures? I mean, I felt like that was kind of him projecting, right? It's
possibly.
He hated himself in that comic book. That's what I got out of it.
The one thing I wanted to comment on about the whole piracy issue is, we talked about quality. I think, Carrie, I think there's an aspect that we're missing. Yes, Manga had its piracy as well, but I think people learned that there is an ongoing story and there's quality there. So people, if they do invest, they feel like they're getting their investment out of it. So that's probably why you saw an increase in sales there. And I don't think buyers feel confident or comfortable with the main two that they're going to get their investments worth.
Well, because
I want to say
ongoing.
Well, I was just going to. Yeah, well, that's my point. Is because you can't just say it's quality, because there were YouTube channels that were going through and having like 15-minute videos, 20-minute videos, just showcasing every page of a comic with no discussions or anything, and views for like Hawkman were getting 30 to 40,000 views on a single channel doing that. Meanwhile, the book wasn't even meeting that number in sales. It just doesn't correlate.
Man, you try to make me and Tim Bordenheim sad? Is that what you're trying to do? John?
I mean, but that's my point. Like, what if people have
such a good series?
That book, it's incredible. And what's even more frustrating is I personally reached out to probably 4 or 5 contacts at DC at the time, and they didn't care. I had to get Jimmy Palmiotti, who stepped in, and he threw a fit and then suddenly that channel got taken down. Like
Wow.
I don't think they care.
Well, you picked the right guy. Jimmy's very, very good at throwing temper tantrums.
And it was a worthy temper tantrum to throw. So kudos to him.
That's
Gotta know
it.
your personnel.
Yeah.
Josh is a narc, everybody. On the low.
I read all my comics legit, Josh.
Exactly.
You and
I
me
don't
are
know.
on good terms.
You need to talk to
I'm
him
not
about
gonna-
Drew, not me.
Well, I'm not going to rat anyone out, but man, you got so many good comics that get canceled, you know, and you wonder, you know, if you
I'm
love,
with you, man.
yeah, if you love good comics, you narc on these sites, especially if they're getting 30 to 40,000 views on a single book.
Here's the thing. Theoretically, piracy can lead to good word of mouth, which can lead to increased sales. The only problem is the book still has to fucking exist by the time the word of mouth happens. But with Marvel and DC rebooting everything every 6 to 18 issues, you're never going to build word of mouth before the fucking book gets relaunched.
Doc's
I
got a
will
point. Skip, what the hell? What's the significance of the Purple Heart? Why is that? Looks like you made Jimmy cry digitally.
Yeah, I'm good at that. You know, I live in Sacramento. I hate myself, so I'm still a Kings fan. So you know, purple Kings.
I've got it because he's got the black heart.
Yeah, because you know, I'm always talking about things that aren't hopeful, or you know, and I'm always crapping on him about what he reads and then what I read.
Well, everyone's
you know,
always crapping on Jimmy about what he reads.
Yeah, so he gave me the black heart because he knows like. Oh, and I agreed with Gabe in there. Because Gabe said like, "May your top 10 list burn in hell."
Gabe had a point.
With Gabe. So he was like, "Don't give me that purple heart. It's black heart." And I was like, "Yeah, it's got a true."
There we go. I thought you guys were flirting. I didn't mean to intrude.
Oh, me and Jimmy are always flirting. We'll get a room one day, but for now,
A little bromance.
you got to put up with us. Yeah, a little bitty bromance. That's all. Nothing more.
Josh, I think I cut you off. I apologize for that. What were you saying?
Oh, I don't even remember, dude. You're good.
All right. Are we done with Comixology? There's other stuff to talk about.
I'm definitely done with Comixology.
All I know is I am perfectly happy that I have bought one fucking comic off Comixology, and that was last week after I learned Soul Saga 6 exists in English, but only that way to get it.
Well, I'm glad you were able to get it before the transition. Or you wouldn't.
Assuming
you would have bought it and you wouldn't have been able to read it.
I actually didn't have a chance to read it yet, so I might have lost it.
Yeah, you screwed. Sorry, buddy.
99
That
cents.
was good. It was money well spent. We got the solicitations for DC and Marvel. I will have the full videos. Tomorrow will be Marvel. Monday will be DC. But DC had the more noteworthy stuff going on. Obviously, we'll throw this one to the DC aficionado himself, Josh. We've got a new Tom King series. We've got a new Weird Aquaman. We've got the cancellation of Suicide Squad, cancellation of the Teen Titans Academy. What kind of stood out to you most?
What stood out to me the most was fucking Batman Inc. being led by fucking Ghostmaker.
That was a bad spoiler, wasn't it?
I threw my phone. I'm not gonna lie. That was one of my. I'm gonna reenact it for you. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? Throws the phone. Gets mad that I threw the phone. Walks over, grabs the phone. I start texting people from Batman News, and I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Sending links. This is bullshit. Links. Yeah, that's what I think.
That was my reaction to Jimmy's video on the best writers of all time.
Throwing your desktop computer.
Yeah, I was like, I got a message. Skip, let me pick this up.
Oh man, yeah. I just,
Son of a bitch.
it's like across the board. I keep watching one bad decision after the other, and I'm like, okay, they're bound. They're bound to learn their lesson at some point, right? No, it just keeps getting worse. They just keep digging their own grave. So there you go, DC.
So were you more upset about the spoiler, or were you more upset about Ghostmaker? Both.
I mean, I think I'm so sick of these new characters, man. So maybe Ghostmaker. Like, I had hoped to God he was gone, and then they teased that he was going to train with Clown Hunter, and I was like, fuck yeah, just do it somewhere else where we don't have to read it. And then now, no, front and center. Which, by the way, I'm gonna plug Batman News real quick. Jay Oz wrote an incredible article about this specifically. And he kind of called DC out about like, you keep saying you're going to do something with Tim Drake. This was your opportunity and you fumbled it big time. Like you had an opportunity to do something with Tim Drake that was interesting, that made sense for the character with other than like, yo, he's gay. And you completely dropped that ball.
Maybe Tim Drake is actually Clown Hunter.
Dear God, no. Please no. He's not. We already know he's not.
Maybe he's Red X. We're going to learn that one next week.
Does anyone care about?
Or maybe it's future time traveled Tim Drake coming back and being the ghost hunter that's in this one.
Perhaps.
Because you know what? Nothing fucking matters. Who cares?
Nope. Nothing.
I have this exact same reaction almost every month of DC Comics Solicitation as Tim Board from Hawkworld has. Solicitations Day makes me question what the heck I'm doing, everybody.
It does.
I'm like, what? It's like, are you serious?
Like,
what the hell am I doing here?
I've gotten, look, I'm going to be honest. I've gotten to where I personally don't even read the articles myself. I wait until either you or Perch post something. That way I can listen to it. And I'm like, all right, they posted it. Whiskey time. And listen.
I try to make it as entertaining as possible, Josh, but sometimes they don't give me a lot to work with.
They really don't.
No. What do you think, Nerdy Girl? Are you ready to jump back on the DC bandwagon after these solicits? Uh-oh, she's muted. Someone said something to her about her audio, and they apparently... Nah, I still can't hear you. Uh-oh.
I mean, if it makes you feel any better, I heard her say, "Can you hear me?" And I'm over here shaking my head no, as if she can see me, but my camera's cut off.
Nope, still nothing, Carrie.
What do you think, Drew? Obviously, you guys are over at the comic shop. Does this give you more excitement and more faith in DC moving forward into Dark Crisis?
No. Talking to Ernie, he said most of the stuff he's not even planning on ordering except for Fables. I think Fables is the one he's going to be ordering.
Nope.
And that should be good for us. Tom King looks like he's disappearing into obscurity, which is, shocking. And Aquaman Andromeda sounds fun, but then again, it's a Black Label book. It can probably be in an awkward size, and it goes back to the physical collector. I'm like, how many are actually going to get that in that wide odd size? But it's going to be a toss up. I really don't know about this month coming up.
Do you think Dark Crisis is going to make a big difference for DC Comics? I feel like it's not. Honestly,
I think if they treat it like Death Metal and have a lot of variants, which I'm sure there's going to be, there will be variants. I'm sure if it's a sales success, it's going to be because of the covers alone. I can almost guarantee that.
No, what I'm talking about is like maybe after Dark Crisis, whenever they do whatever it is that they do and they relaunch everything, I imagine we're going to get a new Batman, probably a new version of the Suicide Squad, that maybe they'll bring in some of that talent that they all let go and went on the cheap and maybe get some good books in there besides Batman.
There's been some rumors about that. I've heard some rumblings about some creators coming back. We can only hope. I can only hope that's true. That would be the smart thing to do. But like I said before, I'm keeping my expectations low. I can only hope they bring some of these big names back and can afford them.
I just hope they keep giving Mark Waid, work so that he stays the fuck away from Marvel.
His World's Finest, I've already read it. It's a good read. Despite what Mark Waid has done or said, he can write a good story. I will give him that credit that much.
I think he's always better at DC anyway.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, Skip, we got a question for you. Mr. DC Comics wants to know, what is it about Superman that makes you dislike him? Have you read all the great runs on Superman to say you dislike him? Answer for your crime, sir.
It's mostly that I just don't find him all that interesting. I don't want to say that I've read like so many great like Superman runs and stuff like that, but he was my favorite superhero for majority of the time when I was younger. And I mean, I say that to say, like, I just don't find him that interesting these days. I say all that to say that, Wes mentioned that story that Daniel Warren Johnson did for the
Red and Blue.
Red and Blue. I bought that because I like Daniel Warren Johnson. I left it as like the last book I was going to read before I went to bed, just thinking I would just get like a cool little Superman story. I was in tears, like reading that thing, and I'm up there like, okay, did not expect to be in tears over this Daniel Warren Johnson Superman story, but all right.
Even the one about the dogs before that's really good too. When Crypto Arise.
Yeah.
I'll go back and read that one. I didn't even read that one because I literally just bought it for Daniel Warren Johnson.
So good. There's a good crypto story.
Yeah.
And I have some controversial things to say about the John Ridley Superman story, but I'll leave that for another stream.
Let's hear it, buddy.
No, I just thought it was a good story, and I don't think it's I don't think it says like it didn't have me all up in arms and everything as it did with most people. Like there are people that have experienced that trauma that Superman has gone through, and I think it was a story about him having a lot of the feelings that people that go through that type of trauma experience, wanting to get revenge and stuff like that, and ultimately fighting back those feelings to make the decision to allow justice to take place as opposed to vengeance and revenge. So I thought it was
justice.
Fine,
the guy was free and cleared. Nothing ever happened to him.
Yeah, no, but if Superman himself did it, then that would be revenge, and revenge is not justice.
Well, I'll give you that, but I've already read his what was it? The Other History of the DC Universe, and he told me everything he wanted to know about Superman. So I took a different approach or opinion to what he was actually trying to do with Superman. But
oh yeah, understandable. And I read some of that too. Again, based off of what you thought, and I agree with you more in those stories than I did in that particular Superman story. I think for people that have gone through that type of trauma, and I know people who have. What they described to me and the feelings, that they have after the fact and whatnot was very much aligned, with that book. And I felt like, for people that have gone through something like that, I think it was good. And if you haven't, if you put yourself in those shoes, I think it's easy to kind of understand it. But then again, maybe me not being so emotionally tied to Superman anymore, it's a lot easier for me to feel that way than maybe if I had so much of an emotional investment in Superman. Maybe it'd be harder for me to see through that. So,
are we talking about?
If you want to read some good Superman, you need to read Superman Up and Away from Jeff Johns. That Marv Wolfman, Man and Superman, that was really good. Man of Steel by John Byrne, all great.
Are we talking about how terrible of a fucking art writer John Ridley is?
Yes.
Okay, good, because the man's fucking awful.
Well,
sure.
Nice. Doc Chime did. We've got Brian Rickard as well. People wrongly sue piracy is a missale. Comics is a collector's hobby, and allowing sampling creates an unknown need in customers.
I understand that logic. It just doesn't actually often translate into sales. That's just
is that
looking
just
at decades,
is that an intuition, Doc, or is that because? What makes you say that?
It's because sales keep going down.
Yeah.
Well, they
keep going down. So all that means is, at best, piracy is slowing down the existing exodus of readers.
Yeah, perhaps it's the quality that's going down.
But
if the books were better, they would come in.
If the books
I can't tell you how much stuff I've bought at Costco because they gave me those tiny little samples, and I was man, I like this.
The cheese.
Yeah,
like man, I'm buying that. What brand is that?
I completely understand that logic. My point is, it actually turning out that way. There's no evidence to show that it does.
Mm-hmm.
There's no evidence
says that it doesn't.
The evidence that it doesn't is sales over the past 20 years where piracy has been in existence have continuously gone down. That is the evidence that it's not adding. I know, but my point is that's the evidence that it is not adding new customers.
Well, yeah, if you sample something that's terrible, then yeah, of course they wouldn't want to spend their money on it. Like I got bad samples there. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is all right.
There is evidence that it could go up, and manga is thriving, and they get pirated more than comics.
Yeah,
good point.
But I think there's a lot of variables. Is what I'm saying, Doc.
I'm saying that there's absolutely no. Yes, there is no way to make a definitive claim that it helps in any way.
There's also no way to make a definitive claim that it hurts in any way.
I'm not saying that it hurts. I'm saying it doesn't help. That is the claim.
Saying
was
it doesn't help saying that it hurts.
No, it isn't.
Oh, okay.
No, claiming that it doesn't help does not mean it hurts. I can walk around and bump into a wall. That doesn't make it hurt. It doesn't.
No.
It also doesn't help my path of travel.
Well, I was about to say the wall doesn't hurt or you doesn't hurt.
No, I don't hurt from walking. You could do things that don't help you, but also don't hurt you.
Gabriel Hernandez says, in all seriousness, Shonen Jump disproves piracy hurts sales. The app is so cheap it almost equates to piracy, yet readers are spending ungodly amounts of money on physical volumes. Quality is the decider. That's personally the baseline conclusion that I've come to in the absence of definitive proof.
I think it's that quality and investment line there. Like I think people have learned they can invest in manga, and it's Doc's. I've been calling it manga now. They can invest in manga, and they know they're gonna get their value out of it. And yes, you can have quality comics. You don't know how long you're gonna get them.
Piracy will only help you if your product is any good. That's the point. The current big two Western comic market is shit. And as a result, piracy is not going to help them. That does not make it mean it hurts them. And in fact, actually, there is some chance that it does hurt them in the fact that, I don't like this to pay enough for $4, but I still kind of want to read.
So we do have Brian Rickard saying, why isn't manga sales bottoming out, Doc? Obviously, he's kind of tying into the same thing that that Gabe was getting it on.
Again, the assumption that piracy is lost sales. It's lost new sales. I'm not saying it's lost sales as in people that are currently reading are just going to start pirating because piracy exists. That is not the case. That is not my claim by any stretch. The initial claim was piracy helps sales. There is no evidence to prove that. And there is evidence to prove that it does not help sales by virtue of the fact that prices keep going or sales keep going down. If it was helping, sales would at least be maybe inching up or staying level while a lot of other people leave the market. So there is no proof that it helps in any way.
I don't think piracy is the real issue. I think it's quality, but I think we're all somewhat in agreement on that one. We do have Lane Kramer coming in, says, hey, X-Men Green is going to print what we all wanted. You know who's going to read that comic book is going to be Skip. He's like, fuck yeah.
I can't wait. Kid mutants killing stuff. Kids mutant killing people. Yay, trash bags.
Hey, kill that
grocery store clerk. Who needs
his
them
company
anyway?
bought a bag and printed their logo on it. He's clearly to blame.
Yep. He's not redeemable. His life is worth nothing. Yeah.
We need someone who's savvy with technology to take that moment of Skip clapping and saying that and making it like a soundbite or a GIF. It is the 2022 Nutty Professor of Hercules. Oh, Hercules.
X-Men Green.
Oh, God. Maybe Jimmy was right. You are the black heart of comics.
It's true. I am.
We got Common Sense. I'm sick of Batman. He's been overrated since the New 52. People do research. Any make a story for less known DC heroes. All right, Josh, you're from BatmanNews.com, obviously from Popeye Culture as well. Defend your hero.
It's kind of hard to defend when I agree with this statement. I think there were some good stories in the New 52. I'm not going to knock it. He's definitely become way too oversaturated since the New 52. And we've talked about this before. The oversaturation is killing the character. They could make smarter and better decisions, and they could still get these books out just over a period of time. Probably done better as well. But yeah, no, I mean, like DC needs to take a step back from Batman and invest in their other characters, because when they tap this well and there's nothing there, they're screwed.
Oh yeah, plus the fact that they're completely bending people over for liking Batman with the prices that they're throwing on them is absolutely insane. But I think most DC readers, there are a few that I have seen in the comments saying, I can't get enough Batman. If they make more, I'm happy. But a vast majority are like, I've had enough Batman.
Yeah.
He's in enough books as it is. So definitely got a point there, Comment says. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Do we have any more information on these new series and cancellations? Anyone sad to see Teen Titans Academy go? Drew, I know you're sad, right?
Oh, I'm terrified. I'm beyond tears after
Suicide Squad. You had to lose that one too.
I'm legit pissed about the Suicide Squad one because that was actually a very, very fun read. And Teen Titan Academy. We're getting the big reveal of the Red X. You know, and we're
finally. They've only been hitting at it for 8 months.
Yeah, and it's the biggest reveal in the history of mankind. It's amazing.
I don't think it's going to save the sales on that one.
No.
All right, what else? We got Bill Sienkiewicz.
Bad.
Decided he was going to side with fans. Apparently, when you start making wholesale changes to the lore and the Lord of the Rings, Bill Sienkiewicz decides he does an about face and he starts kind of chastising Amazon for what they're doing on Lord of the Rings. I don't know, Carrie. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, but I've kind of stayed out of it for the most part. I only covered the Bill Sienkiewicz thing. I think he's got a point, but do you think he understands the irony of his statements and what he has said about fans in the past?
No. Can you hear me first off?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Like I said earlier, it's only when it happens to something they like, and then suddenly they're out defending it. But other times they're just like, well, it wasn't made for you, or it's, why can't it be like this? It's got to be updated. And the people are like, but now you're going to turn around and defend this.
Yeah.
What do you think, Skip? I was kind of surprised to hear this, but it was nice to hear something he was so passionate about and understanding kind of where people were coming from.
It was nice. It's funny that I interpreted it a little differently. Although I think you may have touched on this. I definitely agree with what Carrie said. In addition to sometimes some things are so on the nose that even maybe if people are really pushing for it and they really, earnestly believe in that cause, it's like corporations have a tendency to not be so nuanced and not so subtle. So sometimes they present things so on the nose that even people that are maybe believe in something so earnestly that it kind of, and I don't want to say impairs, but it kind of affects how they look at things, that lens that they look, at life through, that even that lens that they look at that issue through cannot obstruct how very apparent and insincere, to a point that some efforts are. And to me, it was a little bit of that. Like, I watched that trailer before I heard anything about Bill Sienkiewicz. It just played for me, I think, on like Twitter as an ad. And I was just looking at it and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. I'm like, oh, okay, they're doing that now. Like a lot of that stuff to me, I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. But when he came back around and he was talking about it, I was like, yeah, I guess it was so on the nose that even Bill Sienkiewicz can't be like, yeah, this is exactly what we're looking for. Even he was like, this is just corporate pandering. This is insincere. So that's how I read it.
I look at it as get fucking bent, Bill. You know what? I don't give a fuck about Lord of the Rings. Fuck your stupid sword and sorcery and Hobbit bullshit. So you know what? Let them pander it. You know why I say that? Because that's exactly what you said to us whenever we were bitch about changes to our superheroes. So get fucking bent, you old man.
Tell them how you really feel, Doc.
Oh, Doc, are you all that young? I mean, I don't know.
Doc saying what I'm thinking.
No, I mean, that old cranky fuck, he would, every single time actual comic fans bitched about the shit that is getting changed that he's bitching about and siding with fans on here for his stupid fucking furry feet midget bullshit with and pointy-eared archers. I don't give a fuck about any of that stupid shit. So guess what? I'm happy that they changed it. You know why? Because it pisses you off. You fucking... Never mind.
Jeez.
Well,
my goodness, I've got something I want to share with people. I just saw it. Look at this bad boy. That's Fatal J. Isn't sound amazing?
I love it.
Oh my gosh.
We need
The
some
kissing
context. We need some
It's the ki-
context.
It's the kissing
Fatal
lips
J's
for me.
making a lot of videos about this subject, and apparently
Yeah,
another
he is.
YouTuber was inspired by what he had to say and put him into the show.
Yeah, he's doing. Fatal J is doing numbers on those videos. I've seen like 17 videos on this topic from Fatal J, but this takes the cake. Oh my god!
It's
That's not his
beautiful, and I
avatar
love it.
from now on. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, if that's not his avatar from here on out, he's doing life wrong. Fatal J,
Yeah.
make it happen. I need that cosplay. That's what I need. I need that cosplay.
Oh man, you've got the mustache in there. That's beautiful. Like a real dwarf.
A real fatal one. Oh
Oh
god.
my goodness. Fatal J deserves it. You know what I mean? He makes an ass of himself. Might as well make a mockery
Somebody
of
said
the
it's
man.
an org.
It's an ogre. Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, no one loves that more than Fatal J. Let's all
Oh,
agree.
he
on
loves the
that.
attention. You know, he's a fatal diva for a reason.
Oh,
He
absolutely.
absolutely appreciates that. All right, now that Doc has lost his marbles on old Bill Sienkiewicz, I don't know, Drew. I thought it was nice that he kind of agreed with us. Maybe you'll give him a new perspective of what people were saying.
I don't know. He's look. He's an older man at this point. He's not Jerry Conway old, but he's getting
Shit,
there. To that
Doc's
point.
like 50.
Yeah, he's getting there.
40, fucker.
Oh, my bad.
Ain't that old yet.
I'm almost there. I'm going to be 44 this week.
Ah, happy birthday, Wes.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
happy birthday.
Jeez, it's not like as a funeral. You don't have to get silent. On it. I saw someone do one of these numbers. Like, I hope he makes it to next week.
Amazing Grace. Yeah.
Karma's a bitch, Bill. So
Mhm.
fuck off.
Oh, God. Common Sense wants to talk to you, Doc. He says it does help, but it depends on how good the story is. Also, anime helps manga like Invincible and Deadly Class TV show helps their comics. There's definitely evidence that good TV shows help sales for comics.
Yeah, good TV shows. There's some evidence for it. There's evidence, especially like good cartoon adaptations. Yes. There's questionable evidence, especially in the early 2000s, the early parts of like the comic movie craze, that there was ever any correlation. And we haven't had any good evidence. Like when X-Men came out, it didn't help comic sales, like the movie.
What
the
about
original
Daredevil?
movies.
I don't know this. Like when Daredevil the series came out, I don't think that helped sales.
It
either.
really didn't. It was
According to John Jackson Miller, the guy from Comic Con, he said it has helped sales when the comic industry was ready. So for Batman 89, DC had a lot of Batman stuff ready. They had reprinted a lot of stuff and people ate it up. There was no money, according to John Jackson Miller, when the X-Men movie came out because Marvel was having financial troubles and they were not prepared to meet the demand of the X-Men market.
But at the same time, they had the opportunity for Spider-Man. It didn't happen. They had the opportunity for Fantastic Four, even the bad Fantastic Four movies didn't happen. They had the opportunity for the Ghost Rider movies, didn't happen. They had the opportunity for the Daredevil Affleck movie, didn't happen. So look, they've had opportunities, and now that they've actually built this huge MCU cultural machine, instead of taking the opportunities to do the things that they weren't prepared to or didn't effectively do before, they decide the best way is to do it the opposite way, is let's make a movie with a bunch of characters and then fucking replace them in the comics. And so that you can't buy that character in the comics. So we don't, now that we actually have them as a cultural landmark and a touchstone, now we haven't tested it to see if they can replicate the Batman 89 success. There wasn't really much success with the Superman 78 stuff either. But that could have been because DC was going through their implosion at the time.
I don't think
And a
the
lawsuit
direct
with the
market
Siegel
really-
and Schuster.
I don't think the direct market really existed at that point yet either.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but it didn't even. But the newsstand market was 100 times the size that the direct market has been at its largest.
Yeah, they
And it
didn't sell
didn't
reprints.
No, but it still didn't. it still didn't increase the monthly sales on off the spinner rack.
No, I think people go for the collections, but Carrie
Right.
knows what I'm talking about. The reason I think manga and anime are so intrinsically connected is because the animes are faithful to the manga.
Yes.
If you
They-
go
they're-
and watch Infinity War and Endgame, and then you go get Infinity Gauntlet, you're in for some big surprises. They take a lot of liberties with that story. It's not a very faithful translation.
It's like Civil War in the movie is not Civil War in the comic books.
Yeah.
But if you
And-
get My
and
Hero
look,
Academia, it's My Hero Academia is the anime.
Yes.
And
some of these
Invincible,
changes, some of these changes are for the better. I mean, just throwing it out there.
Right.
Some of these changes are for the better, some of them for the worse. But I think the topic to put on here is you do see increases in trade sales, and you like
Yes.
omnibuses recently are selling better than they've ever done before. And I think a lot of it is because of these movies. Even the TV shows, when WandaVision was coming out, Marvel was smart enough to correlate releases of trades featuring Wanda or Vision. Comic book shops were getting them in and selling them out, and then having trouble getting restocks. Like you're seeing sales, it's just not monthly sales, and that's something
Josh.
publishers need to understand, because I think it goes back to quality.
Josh, I think I need to disagree with this. I think yes, you're seeing the right things. I think you're just drawing the wrong correlation, because you're kind of omitting two things. One is there's a lot of the stuff that's coming out in omnibus is stuff that's never been collected or hasn't been collected in omnibus format before. But additionally, if you look at the secondary market on singles right now, it's insane. So many books are just outside the availability of anyone else, because of the prices on some of the especially keys. Even minor keys are absurdly priced right now. So going and buying an omnibus versus going back and trying to pull up the floppies, I think you're getting a lot of the older readers that have a lot more money that just say, you know what, I don't want to go chasing floppies on this because the prices are too high. I'll just buy the omnibus. Or people that have already bought the floppies, they're like, you know what, I don't want to damage my floppies by reading them, so I'll buy the omnibus because it looks cool on my bookshelf.
All I know,
I have the money to do
is
it.
the Invincible omnibuses sold out immediately as the TV show came out.
Yes,
That's
There's a
what-
direct
yeah.
correlation.
Because they call them the impendiums, right? They don't call them an omnibus. I think
Yeah,
they call it the impendium. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I was going to say as a rebuttal to this is my comic shop, and we're in a small rural area. They don't stock heavy on omnibuses and such. I think they bought 15 and sold out all of them. That is rare.
Yeah.
Usually they buy one or two
Mhm.
omnibuses and that's it.
Yeah, Invincible, you couldn't even keep on shelves there for a bit. We do have Common Sense getting back on the Lord of the Rings. It says Amazon goes to Lord of the Rings because it's popular. People should find original fantasy stories instead of wasting their time on Rings of Power. Scales and Scoundrels, Mark Miller's Reborn. Is Rat Queens any good?
No.
What do you think,
I-
Skip? You're an indie guy. Is Rat Queens good?
I don't know. Never read it.
Yeah, same here.
I
I heard
tried
good
reading
things about it, but I haven't read it. What are you saying, Doc?
I tried reading it. I couldn't get past the first issue. It was not for me.
It's no Wolverine.
Can't tell if no, I mean, I didn't really think the art was all that great. The story was kind of dumb, but
Wow. I think there's only one way to find out. We do need to say goodbye. I'll be honest with you guys, a little something behind the scenes. Josh has been out of line pretty much this entire show, so I'm going to be booting him. Would you like to apologize to the viewers, Josh?
Yes, guys, I'm so sorry that my internet was messing up, and I'm sorry if you just kept hearing random like fuck, damn it, fucking internet. But no, I unfortunately have to work today. It was supposed to be my one day off, and day jobs win the lottery.
You got any comic books to recommend on the way out the door?
No, I haven't read any books this week because of fucking Comixology.
Yeah.
How's that for a send off? No, I
Aw.
tried downloading, but it was taking so long to
Takes
one,
so
get
long.
my account to load, and then the books to download themselves. I was like, all right, and it just didn't happen. So
And then you didn't
thank
want to
you,
give
everybody.
your and then
Oh,
you didn't
sorry.
want to give your
Josh.
and then you didn't want to give your computer aids by going to one of the pirate sites.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. All right, Jai.
Later,
Thank you very
Josh.
much, Josh. Obviously, he
Take
wasn't
care,
in
Josh.
trouble. He's got his work to get to, but I really appreciate hearing from Josh. Definitely have him back on the channel next Wednesday for This Week in Batman, as long as nothing happens at the day job.
Yeah, no
So-
walls falling. No walls falling. That happened on Wednesday.
I saw the picture. It's true.
Don't
We've
do
also
that.
got Brian Rickard chiming in. Everyone should buy Red Room by Ed Piskor.
I wouldn't say
Oh.
everyone. No,
Yeah, not everyone. No. And I respect Ed. I like what him and Jim do on Cartoonist Kayfabe so much. But I wanted to support him, but I could only get. I bought 2 issues and I only got through one. And I'm someone who I read like horror comics, bloody comics, all that type of stuff, crime scenes, like it's a little too graphic. So I don't know, like if you really like Garth Ennis stuff, like some of his indie stuff and like some of Mark Millar's weird stuff where like bones go through skin and all that stuff, maybe you'll be cool with Red Room, but Red Room is not for everyone.
Yeah, I would say if you like Tim Vigil stuff like his Faust, like Love of the Damned, you'll probably like this.
Hey, all I can say is Skipitosh is the guy that framed the picture of Superman getting raped. So he could handle a lot, folks, and he couldn't handle Red Room. So it must be quite graphic.
There you go.
We got common sense. Just some guy in Critical Drinker said, make your own, but no one is looking or recommending original fantasy stories out there. So Amazon could adapt that easier than what they're reestablishing here with the Lord of the Rings retcon. There's a ton of fantasy stuff out there. I know Shannara would have been a great series to translate over. Obviously, unfortunately, MTV did that and they didn't do it very well. But there's so many awesome fantasy worlds out there that they could tap into, Carrie, that are just waiting to be explored. To just go into Lord of the Rings. There's so many people that even if they aren't emotionally invested in the story and in the novels, a lot of them are emotionally invested in the movies, which were pretty faithful adaptations. And it's a hard sell.
And I think that's what it is. It's an easy they're lazy. They want the automatic viewership that Lord of the Rings had, and they want to just capitalize on that instead of trying to build up.
But they don't want the expectations that come with the customers.
Exactly.
Oh no, fuck them customers. You just take it.
Yeah.
Then my
should
response is
like it.
fuck your hobbits.
Watch and consume.
Yep.
Exactly.
What did Frodo ever do to you, man?
He existed.
Point on the doll where the Hobbit touched you, Doc.
He existed. That's the problem. Fuck Frodo. Fuck Bilbo. Fuck Sam.
Samwise.
And whatever the other one, like Jimmy or Frank or
Yeah,
Bill
Frank,
the Hobbit.
Frank the Hobbit.
I don't know
Bill,
what the fuck
dependable
his
Frank.
name was.
There's
don't-
Pippin and Mary, but really the only character in Lord of the Rings, or actually it's in the Hobbit, is that Tom Bombadil. I could live without that motherfucker. That's the Hobbit, yeah. That was such a bad character. No, that's the first Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship, right?
Yeah, he was
Tom
the
Bombadil. Yes.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson did it right when he cut that entire sequence out. That was the biggest waste of 100 pages in my life. Took me 3 times to get through that part, but thank you very much to Common Sense and everyone that supported the channel today. It's been fantastic. If you haven't given us a thumbs up, definitely do that. Does anyone else have to say anything about Bill Sienkiewicz and Lord of the Rings besides Doc?
I'll just
we're done.
reiterate my ha ha. Get bent, you hypocritical old bastard.
Brian Rickard, keep Doc away from those hobbits' mouths. Yes,
Yep.
absolutely. He's already threatened to do some not nice things to Hobbit or the mouths earlier. That would be
Said
very
mouse,
unfortunate.
not mouths. Mouse. Fucking Mickey.
That's not what I heard. All right, we'll hear it on the replay. We've also got the Peacemaker HBO Max Finale. Had a lot of people up in arms. I know you didn't enjoy this show very much, Drew. Me personally, if you understand it's James Gunn, it's not going to be very faithful to the characters, and it's just a bunch of dick and fart jokes. I think it is enjoyable, although I don't think the landing on the finale was all that enjoyable. Did you stick around?
I like I said, I couldn't get past the 19-minute, like 40-second mark in the first episode. I checked out. But when I heard about the jokes in the last episode, I'm not surprised. I'm not shocked. That's all this to me. That's what this series seemed to be all about. Just really just making fun of superheroes, and it's not for me. It's at all.
I would like to jump in on this.
Absolutely.
Because how Drew feels is exactly how I felt, especially after seeing the Suicide Squad movie. After that, I was done. I'm like, I'm completely done with James Gunn's whole formula. I get it. It's the whole mismatch family. It's the rejects. You use the music cues from the old music that you grew up with and blah, 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 blah. And you know, it's vulgar and there's tons of profanity and I'm done with it. Like, not my type of show. And I continue to say that. I watched the first one. I watched the second one. I only continue to watch because, at first, because buddies that have RDV and Professor Pixel do like a puppet show thing where they like review the show. And I was just trying to like show them some love. And I was like, well, you know what? If I'm watching the reviews, I should watch the show to kind of see how I feel. So I kept watching it. And I have to say, even though I'm still sick and tired of James Gunn's formula, I stuck with that show, and I'll be damned if he did not actually take Peacemaker on a journey where you actually become invested in them. You start to get more invested in the characters, as weird and out there as the plot is with like who the actual big bad is and all of that stuff. This MFer for James Gunn made it all work. And the landing, I felt like it was just a little soft, but overall, as far as an emotional payoff and even allowing an episode to not just hit and then fizzle, like him show how, like, where the characters go after that, and kind of like after the apex, kind of letting things gradually go back down. I'll be damned if he didn't execute on every single part of that. This show is one of the best comic book related shows that I've ever watched, and I don't even like the skin that it's wrapped in, but I can't deny the craft and the execution and the quality that actually was put into it. It's a damn good show.
You left me speechless here, Skip. I was not expecting that. I'm glad that you were so passionate and supportive of the show. I think there are some things about the ending specifically. I don't want to get too much into spoilers. I know not everyone's seen it, but when the butterfly makes the revelation of what it all means, and he murders them all for it, I was like, that's what I'm talking about. That feels like if it's with a character. There are a couple other parts where they were like literally throwing obstacles in the way just for dick and fart jokes. I was like, well, that's stupid. Like,
right.
That's not plot. That's like a hygiene kind of thing. That's a skit kind of thing. So I didn't hate the show. I thought it was pretty good. I thought the landing could have been better. I don't understand why everyone's so upset. I guess maybe it's because really Momoa was there for the joke about the fish.
Yeah, maybe. Which, like, those are like, and even with that, so I didn't like that joke all throughout. It was just like, okay, whatever. Like, this is James Gunn doing his weird, I need to defile things type thing. But for them to have him there to back it up and support it, I was like, you know what? That's payoff for the fans that do like that stuff, that were invested in it. And it also shows like how much DC, or I should say WB, believes in it, to where they would, like have him appear to make that land. I was like, I was happy. Like, I appreciated it for fans that really enjoy all of that aspect. I was like, if I was into it the way that they were into it, I'd be over the moon. So, I even respected that. I mean, there's some
good rants by Peacemaker about heroes. The one about Batman was good.
There was, yeah.
He's such a fucking pussy, he can't even kill the Joker. Like, yeah.
Right.
You can see why a meathead would come from that perspective. Did you watch it, Carrie? Were you into this thing?
I have not watched it yet, but I did see the one clip at the end where he bumps into them and the fish joke.
It was a running gag. It was a payoff for a joke.
Yeah, I'd have to see the whole show.
A couple episodes earlier, I believe. And I don't believe Doc watched it either. I guess let's just end it up. We're almost at 2:30 and 1:30 here in the Philippines. And Doc has to get out of here. Apparently, he's going to what's the Permane Brothers?
Yeah, actually, that sounds delicious for lunch.
You going to get a sandwich?
I think so. I think that actually
Common
sounds
Sense
really
has something to say
good.
first. He said Do The Last God too. It's DC and Warner Brothers own it like Lord of the Rings.
That was a good read.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Doc. I'm sorry. You get what sandwich do you get for the Permane brothers?
The corned beef hash, and with fries, coleslaw, tomato on the giant thing of
Is that the
Italian
one they
bread
dip in the juices?
No, but I mean they don't really. They cook it all on a fucking griddle, just like on a flat griddle, and then they just slap it right onto the bread.
LK says Doc's in Pittsburgh. So is Carrie. They're both in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
As far as I know, you guys are brother and sister, correct?
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Carrie's like, you think this dickhead's related to me?
By the way, yes, they do one that has a fried egg on the top. I can't remember what the hell it's called.
Man, I would love a Permane brothers. I've never been to Pittsburgh.
No.
You know what we call it around here, right, Doc? Britsburg. You know, DMD.
Britsburg. Yep.
Absolutely. All right, Doc. What do you recommend this week? What are the good comic books people should be looking out for?
Oh fuck me. ASM wasn't bad. Wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. And
that's the best recommendation. That's where Marvel is, man.
Yeah, that's.
I didn't want to hurt myself. You should read that comic.
Fuck. I'm trying to think of it. You know what? I'm gonna go back. What, last week, maybe 2 weeks ago? I'm gonna re-recommend King of Spies #3.
Damn good comic book right there.
Absolutely.
All right, Doc. Do you want to say goodbye, or are you going to stick around while everyone else gives recommendations?
I'll stick around until everybody else is done.
All right, so Doc's got to pop out of here for a sandwich. Skip, what are you recommended this week? You going to the indie scene, or you're going chalk with the big two? You recommended Superman, aren't you? Oh, you sly fox.
No, Superman 78 is all wrapped up. So unfortunately, I no Venditti Superman for me to recommend to people. Yeah, it was mostly indies this week. A Righteous Thirst for Vengeance by Rick Remender. Some of us were talking about Deadly Class in the TV show in the chat. A fantastic book. Andre Lima Araujo's art. I've become a bigger fan of him through his visual storytelling. Homesick Pilots by Casper Wynyard and Dan Waters on the script. I've been enjoying that series all throughout. It is such a weird mashup of so many things from our childhood that we would like really enjoy. So check that out. I know everybody here loves Christopher Cantwell so much. Regarding the matter of Oswald's body has continued to be like a really interesting and compelling story. For me, a lot of the things that people don't like that Christopher Cantwell does are not present in this book at all. And I've been really, really enjoying it. And lastly, What's the Furthest Place from Here? Matthew Rosenberg and Tyler Boss. Crazy story about like a bunch of kids in this world that you don't really know what's going on, but there's no adults there. And they just go from like place to place, all these weird, bizarre scenarios that they get put in. And they very much have the voice of like, you know, kind of modern day kids, maybe, or like kids from like 10, 15 years ago. But the characterization is awesome. And I love Tyler Boss's lines and his colors. So very fun book.
Skip, you know what I've learned about kids with all my world travels? You know, I've been everywhere. You know what I've learned? No matter where you are, no matter what language, no matter what culture, teenagers are fucking annoying.
Yeah,
doesn't matter.
I would agree.
Doesn't matter
I would
if you
agree.
know what they're saying or not.
Yeah, I'm progressively getting more and more tired of my own children, who I love very much. They're teenagers now, so I agree. Enjoy them while you can, Wes. Enjoy them while you can.
I got 7 more years till the oldest is a teenager.
Take it slow, buddy.
Did I tell you guys what happened? We had apparently when girls turn 18 here in the Philippines, not boys, only girls, you have this enormous party. They don't really do the prom or whatever. So they're decked out in this huge dress. We got this enormous like venue, and it's entirely catered. There's a DJ, there's entertainment, everything. And obviously it's this girl's birthday party. And my son was picked to be one of the there's like 90 people involved in this damn thing. It was crazy for one person. But he had to bring her some treats, and afterwards he had a little slow dance with her.
Mm-hmm.
So turns out he had all the right moves, just like his old man. I was proud of him. He's out there. He even put his hand on her ass. I was like,
oh yeah.
He's been watching, you know what I mean? He's seen me make out with his mom.
Like father, like son.
Absolutely. I was like, put that on
so
Facebook, babe. She's like, no. I was like, you do it.
So
the world to know.
you already know for certain that kid's going through a MILF phase and it's like
Oh,
it is like late teens, early 20s.
This
wow.
girl's 18. She's got no kids, so I don't know. I was proud of him. The wife still won't put it on Facebook, but I'll get her there eventually. You know what I'm saying?
good luck with that. Good luck with that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's basically just like the Filipino version of a quinceañera.
Yeah, except
Yeah.
it's 18 and says 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense because the Spanish conquered the land of the Philippines and held it until the Spanish-American War. So there's a ton of Spanish influence, including like hyphenated names and whatnot that you get similar in some Hispanic cultures as well. All right, Carrie, you're in Britsburg. What are you recommending?
I liked Black Fury from Billy Tucci. I got that, and I'm reading Earthbound right now, which is also pretty good. As for manga, Blood on the Tracks is really good. I like Blood on the Tracks a lot, but I would not recommend the
sounds
Deadpool
like a
manga.
book that Skip would love. It sounds pretty disheartening. Like there's just like kids dying on train tracks or something.
More like
oh,
a
really?
Twisted
Oh,
Mother.
I'm gonna love that. Yeah, absolutely. I do read like firepower stuff. By the way, guys. Like I like happy stuff, just not most of the time.
You'd like it.
Thank you, Carrie. I may check it out on your recommendations. I trust
There
you.
you go.
Who else we got? Drew, obviously, we're going to be doing our best of the week tomorrow here on the channel. You got a little taste for everybody?
I will say if you like animals that reside in buildings that resemble castles, you may want to pick that up. But damn it. Yep, got it. I will say if you back Born of Blood, digital copies went out yesterday, so check your inboxes and your junk files. And I did read my DC books for next week already, and I will recommend Deathstroke Inc., DC versus Vampires, Action Comics, Batman versus Bigby, Robin, and Teen Titans Academy, greatest comic book ever in history of mankind, possibly in the universe. Yes.
Whoa. Sounds like it's a big week for DC.
Yeah, it's 17 books I read this week for upcoming DC.
Are you being serious about Teen Titans Academy? You know that's the one where they finally reveal who Red X is.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Drew was here this whole time. Yeah. He his face isn't there because he shaved and he looks like he's like 14 again. I'm scared.
Yeah, shade off the winter fur.
So as far as me, obviously we will have the best of the week tomorrow, and I'm continuously going to be recommending Crimson Cage. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So we'll be talking about that. You'll get some more details on the story. I want to say thank you to everyone for supporting the channel. Thanks for giving us a thumbs up. Thanks for the interaction. It sounds like, or it looks like the conversations that were going in the live chat was awesome. Everyone had a great time, and we will see you next week right here on the Comics Aficionados.
And piracy still sucks.